Yo, hello, hello. Hopefully this, hopefully it goes through. Okay, okay. I think the mic is working now. Now I just need the.
To people who do want or need it but no longer can buy it since they just purchased the whole supply in a split second. Of course, scalping isn't always online. However, it's even more loser behavior when it happens in person because it usually involves really sad and pathetic actions like these fat Reddit moderators pushing children over in grocery stores. Hell, some losers even commit armed robbery over it. People will scalp anything these days. Did you know people even scalp IKEA furniture? Like, sure, you could argue that furniture has more practical uses than like a Pokemon card or any trading game card for that matter, but this actually still blew my mind because it means that there's like a large enough demographic for scalpers to literally scalp anything. Like, remember back when these losers also scalped toilet paper and hand sanitizer during the pandemic, and people actually defended them with the annoying cope of, they're just being businessmen. It's just simple supply and demand. Haha. And then those same losers had a shocked face when companies simply just drove up the supply and then boom, crashed their prices, and a lot of those losers got stuck with thousands of dollars worth of hand sanitizer that they couldn't sell anymore. And I'm just gonna throw this out there. Being a real businessman means establishing producers, supply chains, and making or designing the products to begin with, or hiring a group of people to do so. It doesn't mean buying an existing product, having no control over its original initial supply and production, and then just charging exorbitant prices for it. That's just false scarcity. All it takes is one corporation to just crank up the production again, and there goes the prices, and that has destroyed so many of their lives. And honestly, I'm all for that. That's funny. At the end of the day, scalping is just a really crappy form of drop shipping, and I'm tired of pretending like these scalpers are some sort of mad genius businessmen who mastered hustle culture when I know for a fact they're all rocking the Discord moderator build.
Wife and her
I'm trying to
boyfriend
get
are in
paid.
the
I'm
car
trying to get that
waiting.
bread, man.
Please.
How am I gonna make that bread?
And this is all over cards, by the way. Like, I know it has value, just like how jewelry at the end of the day is a shiny rock that we humans assigned arbitrary value to, and people rob that, right? But you gotta admit, this just sounds way worse and honestly way funnier. Like if a jewelry thief ended up in prison, they might still be like some genius heist dude who like you is probably well respected by the other prisoners. But genuinely, imagine some clown gets locked up over Pokemon cards, and you already know that these buffoons are gonna just get their cheeks clapped, gapped, and creamed by the rest of the inmates when they find out their stupid behavior. Like, speaking of their lies, that's another cope that I always hear is like, oh, but I'm just trying to make a living, bro. This day and age, just gotta grind any way you can to make some money. I hear people justify scalping with that. And like, no. See, the problem is this actively makes other people's lives worse. That's why this isn't like a good way to make a living. that's essentially a criminal. And as I stated before, some of them literally are doing crimes. Like, these MFs will do anything but just get a normal job. In fact, I'd rather someone be unemployed than do this garbage. Like, legit, there's no long-term income stability from this career because, like I mentioned earlier, all it takes is for a manufacturer to either release a new batch of a new good that's more desirable or to just randomly release a rerun of the current batch of a good that you're currently scalping, and it completely crashes your prices. And now you're stuck with a bunch of inventory that you can't sell at ridiculously scalped prices and instead have to sell at a ridiculous loss. The hand sanitizer and toilet paper example during quarantine is the funniest one I can think of, but it did happen to people who overly held on to GPUs even when Bitcoin mining started to slow down. At the end of the day, every so-called successful scalper I see flexing on TikTok is just some dude who made one or two big sales, like, oh wow, $4,000, crazy, wow, good job, little bro, then chases that high forever, never able to replicate it. Trying to predict and learn scalping markets is genuinely way more effort because they're just so much more volatile than just learning the stock market, which, by the way, is infinitely more profitable and, better yet, also more stable. Of course, the best thing to do if you want a stable source of income, if you're, I'm just trying to make a living, bro, just get a job. And I deeply apologize for jump scaring all the unemployed viewers with that word, but just know that I genuinely appreciate all y'all unemployed viewership. I would rather have you guys do nothing for society than actively do something that harms society. So like this video if you're enjoying it so far, subscribe for more rants. Back to the video. And I genuinely wish corporations would do something to stop scalping, and it seems over time they have implemented more measures like buying limits that can be quickly subverted with just making a whole bunch of fake emails and fake accounts. But the in-person buying limits are always my favorite because, you know, these Discord mods hate going out in public. And by the way, scalping does negatively affect corporations as well, so this is something they should actually be on the side of consumers with because they don't see a lick of the profits from the scalpers either. It's kind of like when jerkwad car dealerships who mark up entry-level cars to the moon are completely ruining the whole point of a manufacturer's intention of making an affordable car to begin with. Speaking of car dealers though, car dealerships.
Your bill, sir.
What? 100?
Because the only thing worse than a loser scalper is a government sanctioned loser scalper. If you're young enough and you haven't bought a car yet, boy oh boy am I about to tell you the minefield of a world that is buying a car. And I'm tired of pretending that car dealers aren't just legally protected scalpers. Like, they're mandated to exist by federal law, by the way. That's why we can't just buy direct from manufacturer, because that's something I always see people saying, like, how come we can't just buy from factories? Real talk though, why does MSRP exist if no car dealership follows it anymore? Can we stop calling it manufacturer's suggested retail price and start pushing for it to be called manufacturer's mandated retail price, and then actually have a law that enforces car dealers to sell it at the prices mandated? I don't think that's government overreach either, since remember, there's already a law that mandates the dealership's existence that we have to go through. So if we're already forced to go through these dealers, can we at least get another law that protects us from their stupid, evil scalping and markups and awful pricing? Why isn't shopping for anything else like this? Why is it that when I see a $4 loaf of bread on the grocery store shelf, it's still $4 at the register, and I don't need to negotiate tooth and nail over its price with the cashier? But buying a car is still the only thing we treat like a medieval market stall, where it's just an absolute free-for-all, constant speech checks, tons of negotiation, and a lot of scamming and a lot of scalping and a lot of marking up. The crazy part is, right, the grocery store is also a middleman, just like a car dealer is. It's also not direct from manufacturer. And by the way, I get why direct from manufacturer doesn't work for all these products, because having consumers visit a dedicated bread store from bakers who only sell bread, then another one like the dairy guy for milk, and then another, you know, farmer for selling eggs, that'd be really annoying. So we have these middlemen, in this case a grocery store, that serves as a vendor to hold all of those goods simultaneously, that we don't constantly have to buy direct from producer or direct from manufacturer, because that would just be too much commuting, right? I understand that's what car dealers were supposed to serve for. They serve as a middleman, especially in the case of warranty repairs. If a recall happens, you don't just flood the deal, you don't flood a manufacturer's lot with all the recalls, you take it to individual dealers first. So my issue isn't that these middlemen exist. Having said that, because this middleman exists and because we're forced to go through it, and unlike any other shopping situation where the price stated is the price we pay, cars are the only one where when you go to these dealers, two consumers can go in, look at the exact same product, and even crazier can go to the exact same dealership at the exact same location, see the exact same list price, but be given two entirely different prices. You can actually try this out yourself without having to buy the car, so you don't need to have like 60 grand on you to do this experiment, because every dealer lets you walk in and you can ask for a printed paper with the final price breakdown, fees, and everything. And they usually sit you down a bit, try to gauge why you're interested in the car, and they do profile you. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they do 100%. People lie when they say like, oh, we live in a really shut up. They 100%. Every time I've done this for my friends when helping them shop for cars, I always get the lowest price for them because they go in on their own first, get the paper handed to them after talking for an hour, show me the paper, and I go, this is bullcrap. This fee you don't need, this fee you don't need. Like, good example, right? The amount of car dealers and even motorcycle dealers that try to charge freight and assembly fees on a used vehicle, a vehicle that is already on their lot that was traded in by someone else. So to explain this for people who are wondering why this is a big deal, a used car does not to be shipped, or there shouldn't be a freight fee. It was dropped off by the previous owner who traded it. Usually, sometimes they do buy used cars from auctions. I still think it's a scam. I still think you can negotiate freight away. You can negotiate this one down. Second one, when I talked about assembly fees, this one is just total BS. Any dealer that does this is trying to pull a fast one. A used car is fully assembled. It's not like a new car where, and the dealer usually has to just do really simple things like put on the mirror. Sometimes they even put on the aero kits because usually splitters and spoilers can get damaged in the trailer. So manufacturers don't put those on the assembly line. The dealer has to. And again, like, this fee makes sense for a new car because a new vehicle had to be assembled, but a used vehicle was already assembled by another dealer. There's no assembly that occurs here. And there are a whole bunch of other fees that they'll try to rip you off on. I really don't want to yap about it here. There are a lot of other videos you can watch for car buying guides that are going to go way more in depth for things you should look for. And some of it is just genuine methods. Like, I have one that talks about like the Foursquare method and how to not get ripped off by APR, because that's another thing they'll try to rip you off with. But fundamentally, the reality is these numbers on paper are going to be wildly inconsistent between buyers. Like, some of them will genuinely fold under zero pressure if you just ask them. And to be fair, they just want to see if you catch it to begin with. So that's why, like, even for introverts, just ask questions of what the fee is for. If none of us buy these scalped prices, then scalping
Going
side
where
of
they
the coin
work.
is a smart stuff. Just scalp prices, especially the losers cars that took smoke up. Reddit going, I'll just broke these at you like me. I never to corporate cuckold mindset. And this is the dealership mindset, like generally behavior. And a lot of them, by the way, despite using the word brokey, they brokies. I also got a whole video called the brokey epidemic that one's funny. This one I really recommend. If you don't like boring numbers, this is a good video, okay? It's very digestible because I'm so sick of these people making the rest of us have to go through awful prices because they're willing to stomach literal greed. Thankfully, there is
For the
some light at the
spotlight,
end of the
dude?
tunnel from
I
all
think they're
things. It's
announcing
actually
a
coming
new
from the
hero.
corporations and
I'm pretty
manufacturers this
sure.
time. Car manufacturers are starting to
Might be
implement
wrong.
punishments to these car dealers if they constantly keep attempting to mark things up. And eventually, they're going to lose allocations for certain models. Like Chevy does this with the Corvette. And some manufacturers took it a step further and even punish customers who are trying to instantly flip it, since customers can also be scalpers, as we discussed for the rest of the video. But dealerships make it where when customers are caught scalping, they will straight up remove the car's warranty entirely. And this does ruin that car's value because it's tied to its VIN. Basically, that VIN gets blacklisted, kind of like when video games ban people's IP for when they start hacking. And this generally should be standardized by more car manufacturers. And I hope a lot of car manufacturers, I hope it's adopted by all of them, because this is a really good way to dealers just take away their allocations and deal with stupid scalping customers. Take away their teeth. What's even worse than government sanctioned scalping, though? Corporations getting in on it. So I think car manufacturers are moving in the right direction. Remember how I talked about grocery stores and inflation at the start of the video, and how a few paragraphs ago I was like, yeah, at least grocery prices make you pay what's listed. What if I told you that be changing because some stores are trying to introduce dynamic grocery pricing. That is right. Now even grocery stores are going to scalp prices on the literal food that you need to live. This isn't a week-to-week thing or even a location-to-location thing. That's something that has existed. I'm aware of that. This is literally a live time pricing adjustment. And what's even more evil is that it differs customer to customer over the exact same product purchased at the exact same location within the same day. And it's different for each company with what they're planning on, but I'm going to tell you some of the more evil ones. Some of them are literally going to accomplish this via surveillance cameras that send information and shopping patterns to these AI-powered systems that track your specific shopping patterns and behaviors and will mark up items accordingly during times of high demand or when it knows you're shopping, like when you typically go to a store. And this is like this is genuinely just corporate sanctioned robbery at this point. Like, brother, this is why RAM prices are going up, to power AI systems to further drive up the prices of the literal food we need to eat. When will these tech bros ever be satisfied? They are actually just trying to extinct humanity at this point. And yeah, some stores are trying to mask it and be more vague about what it will do. Like, oh, we're just using these to like run some experiments, or oh, it's gonna help reduce grocery waste. But then you just have companies like Kroger that just boldly state, yeah, so we introduced this because it will optimize our profits. Boom, absolutely shameless. It may as well have just said, we just want to see how many ways we can keep squeezing every single last penny out of consumers and see how much longer we can get away with it. I know this has existed for airline seats and event tickets for quite some time now, but those are non-essentials. Most people do not need to actually go to a concert. That's not a necessity in life. And with airline tickets changing on a day-to-day basis, makes sense. You know, unpredictable weather, holiday seasons can drive up prices. Again, also not a pure necessity on a day-to-day basis. But food, meanwhile, is literally a necessity. You don't eat, you die, right? Like, I get that inflation makes food cost more over the course of, like I said, weeks, months, years, and location is gonna be different. But there's just something so deeply dystopian. It also keeps track of weather, time of day, and they even say some of them are going to incorporate recognition technology to gather demographic information and tailor prices accordingly. So I'll just say this. Is that not just a really complex way of saying discrimination based on looks? Like, what the hell? I look crack pipe? Like, that's just a blatantly prejudiced description in the most tech bro jargon possible. Yeah, we're going to use recognition software to keep track of things like your race, your demographics, your socioeconomic standings, and tailor prices accordingly to your looks. This is stupid. In no universe is this okay. Why do you deeply feel like this system is extremely corrupt and it's just going to make rich richer and poor poor? Thank goodness, just like with the whole car scalping issue, this one also has a light in the tunnel, because there are some states that are trying to ban this garbage preemptively or actively making laws to prevent these surveillance systems because they're a complete violation of consumer privacy. They're a violation of many things for consumers. Generally, this nationwide should be banned. This type of technology should not even get off the ground. It's just stupid. It's beyond stupid. It's pure evil. Anyways, that's it for your bi-monthly Doomer news. I'll be moving soon, so apologies for the slower uploads. If you do hate scalpers and like this video, and share it to your least favorite Discord moderator, go check out my Brokey Epidemic and subscribe for future situation updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Blade Angel out.
You know where a procedural error goes after
I know, but I'm saying, like, I don't know where it went
Yo,
wrong.
your whole field is illegal.
This is Fraser Smith. Fraser has just won a match of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the most bizarre way possible, because he barely played a single card. Rather, his opponent has just too old himself, and you might be wondering how this is possible.
But it's so
And I'm not going
basic.
to
These moves are just like the basic moves, you know? So basic, and
The
it's
end
like,
result, you're actually not
I'm
doing that
just
choice.
saying.
The person sitting across from him is none other than Peter Chang. Peter has just made 5 illegal moves in the span of less than 10 minutes, and his current field on the board is entirely illegal. But the community wasn't surprised, because this was not the first time that Peter Chang had done this. You see, the man was previously
That's buffering
disqualified
pretty
and
bad.
banned from organized play on multiple separate occasions
Let
for
me see.
unsporting conduct, cheating,
know if
and for
this
over a
fixes
decade,
it.
Peter Chang was one of the most well-known names on the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene. Not necessarily for his skill per se, rather for his antics over the years. But on this day day in particular, his actions would culminate in perhaps the most legendary feature match ever, and luckily for the world, it was live streamed for thousands of viewers. Now, to understand the gravity of the situation that we just saw, we're gonna have to rewind just a little bit for context. This is a story of Peter Chang, the most notorious Yu-Gi-Oh player of all time. Our story starts over 15 years ago in the year 2009, where Peter Chang was an accomplished Yu-Gi-Oh player who would travel the world to attend championship level tournaments composing of thousands of players and rare cards worth lots of money on the line. His prior success included multiple top cup finishes at these tournaments, but before he became a semi-big name, Peter was a dominant player in the New Jersey area, winning nearly all of the
Peter
local
Chang.
and regional tournaments. But how could one man consistently win almost every single tournament? It was a question that many would ask, and over time, people slowly became suspicious about his style of play, and rumors began to spread, to the point where Peter would be known locally as a shady character with a history of connivery beyond the mere rules of the game. Local players would accuse Peter of stacking their decks and shuffling them in a manner that would cause them to draw the worst cards. At the same time, others suggested that he had marked his own sleeves to draw the powerful cards that he wanted. His opponents would basically agree that Peter seemed
Always
to open
top
the
decking.
perfect hands every time, with the player even saying that at one of the local stores, Peter was banned from using white sleeves because they were so easily markable. And players who knew Peter in real life would claim that he was caught cheating on 7 separate occasions. It became so widely known that even some of Peter's closest friends would not refute this claim. But in light of this, he was never punished officially by the Yu-Gi-Oh! Organized Play Committee, as his hijinks were limited to his local area at the time. Nevertheless, it got to the point where Peter was disqualified from numerous local and regional tournaments, and eventually banned from several local stores. Coincidentally, as Peter's success flourished, he grew bored of the Jersey scene. I mean, yeah, being banned from several local stores probably didn't help. So he began to travel around the country to attend tournaments on the major circuit. So we're talking about the largest tournaments in the world here. This would prove to be extremely rewarding, for his skills were more than enough to compete on a national level. Peter would quickly make a name for himself, going undefeated at multiple events in a row and threatening even the strongest players at the time, upsetting legendary names like Adam Korn and Jeff Jones. At the same time, he would supplement his travel expenses as a backpack vendor, someone who carried around binders chock full of cards to buy low and resell at a higher price. Though it was technically and still is against the rules to buy and sell with anyone besides the official vendors in the convention hall, back then it was an unspoken taboo where basically everyone would secretly try to buy and sell with each other. Now I know what you're thinking.
why
You
wouldn't
probably
you,
thought
yeah?
that Peter was a delightful businessman to
That sounds
trade
kind
and
of
buy
lame.
with.
Be like, oh no, you can only do it at
Got
vendors.
something that might interest you.
That's kind of lame. I'd rather buy from
Unsurprisingly,
the
Peter was
homies
known to
and
be
shit,
extremely
bro.
hard to deal
Make
with,
that money.
often charging
Grind
well
that
over
shit
the
out.
market prices, especially if he knew that the buyer was in a desperate position. And according to a tournament report, one man who was the unfortunate victim of Peter's business practices had said, "When we got to the event, I had to ship $30 for sanctums, ignitions, etc., and got savaged by Peter Chang for like $20. Sucks to suck." You can imagine my dismay when my teammate Dylan showed up later with a binder full of artifact cards. Except that the other vendors were sold out of the cards, so the man had no choice but to approach Peter. And since Peter knew that the man needed the card for the tournament and round 1 was about to start, he upcharged him. Others would say that Peter would lowball them when buying their cards online. But at the end of the day, though perhaps immoral, none of what he was doing was technically illegal, beyond, well, buying and selling at the venue. The bottom line is Peter needed more money to be able to constantly attend these majors because they were always held in a different city across the United States, and travel and accommodation can be pretty expensive. As his play continued, Peter quickly cemented himself as one of the best Lightsworn players in the world. A strategy reliant on self-milling, it would trigger powerful effects in the graveyard to flood the
I
field
miss
with
playing
monsters.
Yu-Gi-Oh,
The deck's
bro. I
signature
miss
boss,
playing
the
old
Judgment
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Dragon, could only summon itself when 4 different Lightsworn names were in the graveyard, with its Day of Judgment ability wiping out all other cards on the field.
Yeah, I've been
but
looking
Peter's
into getting
opponents
into Magic,
complained that he
bro.
always had the perfect
I don't know
mills,
if I should.
consistently hitting 4 names as early as the second turn, and constantly milling multiple copies of Wolf Lightsworn Beast, one of the deck's powerful methods to swing the game in favor. For it was essentially a free 2100 beater who brought itself back to the field. Though the deck could be pretty inconsistent due to the RNG factor associated with milling, in the hands of Peter Chang, the deck always seemed to perform exactly as he wanted it to. And with his devotion to the light, Peter would finish top 4 at Shonen Jump Championship Orlando and top 16 at Shonen Jump Championship Columbus. With his name now commonplace among the elite, everyone would agree that Peter was no doubt a skilled player. But while his accomplishments grew,
I don't know how to
did
play
an
it.
aspect of uncertainty surrounding his gameplay, which had now transcended his local community and became known to the world. Online chatter was abuzz on the popular
Plus, I'm,
forums at the time. One player would note, Peter Chang has swept multiple events with
collecting
Lightsworn.
Pokemon
It's
again, and I
statistically
told my
impossible
girl
to go
that,
8+ rounds and not lose multiple
well, if we
times.
collect
Factor in
enough that
Lightsworn's
me and her
inconsistencies, and you've got
can
someone who is obviously
learn
defying
how
the
to fucking
system in
duel.
some
I'll teach
way
her how to
here.
duel
To
with
further my
Pokemon,
claim, he's
since we're
been
gonna have
asked to
enough.
change his
So
sleeves
we just
during
have little
multiple
fucking
regionals due
Pokemon
to
battles
marked
with-
sleeves.
with
In
her and I
3,
and
he's
shit.
been DQ'd in the top 8 of regionals before. His reputation would rapidly become known, with a chunk of the community calling him Cheater Chang, while others use the comedic spoonerism Cheater Pang. With each consecutive tournament that Peter attended,
I
the
gotta
forums
go-
would be abuzz with users following along for updates and potential
I gotta
drama.
go to that
And
old
boy,
spot
would
that I
there
used
be
to,
drama.
The card shop that I used to go to.
At the Shonen Jump Championship in Los Angeles, where after starting with a phenomenal 8-2 record and nearly locking himself into the top cut yet again with Lightsworn, Peter would suddenly be disqualified mid-round. Not explicitly for cheating, but rather for lying to a judge. You see, in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, infractions generally start with warnings. This is to give the player the benefit of the doubt for a genuine mistake, but also to ensure that players don't try to soft cheat by deliberately performing illegal plays or breaking policy to try and gain advantage. Therefore, multiple warnings or infractions would escalate into steeper punishment, with 2 warnings often granting the player a game loss. Now, apparently Peter had already received an infraction earlier in the tournament for having a marked sleeve in his side deck. But later when he was deck checked again in the tournament, that same sleeve in question was still present. Peter allegedly told the new judge that he had no prior warnings in an attempt to avoid receiving the upgraded penalty. But unfortunately for Peter, his statement would be fact-checked with the head judge, resulting in immediate disqualification for his dishonesty. Word of this quickly spread online like wildfire. The infamous Peter Chang was finally disqualified from a major event. Now, a pro player being disqualified from a tournament in the championship tier was already a rare occurrence. But factoring in Peter's scandalous background and everyone on the internet waiting for exactly this to happen, it certainly spilled the tea. Forums would reach peak traffic, with many flocking to hear the story and also to share their own personal anecdotes about Peter's gameplay. Now, you would think this is the end of the line for any regular Yu-Gi-Oh player, but unfortunately, Peter was not a regular player. In fact, this was only the beginning, because such an act of humiliation would only fuel Peter's revenge, igniting his thirst for redemption because he was so close to winning his first championship, and now he wanted to prove himself more than ever. Miraculously for Peter, luck would be on his side, for he would avoid any immediate punishment beyond disqualification from the event. Apparently, not even a disqualification from a major tournament would put a damper in Peter's shenanigans, because at the Shonen Jump Championships in Edison the following month, yes, during the well-known Edison format, Peter would be caught trying to add a card that was removed from the game back to his hand. But the judges simply gave him a game loss penalty instead of a disqualification because they didn't actually see it happen, and Peter argued that it was an accident. No surprises here. But just 4 months later, to the chagrin of the entire community, Peter Chang would pull off the unthinkable. It's May 16th, 2010. Peter Chang has defied all expectations and once again made the top 16 of a championship. But it would only get better for him as he breezes through the top 8 and then the top 4, at long last landing himself in the championship final. And the crowd can't believe it. If Peter Chang wins, I'm learning how to cheat, says one poster online. And finally, when the smoke cleared, a man raises a trophy with one hand and clutches 3 elusive prize cards in the other. After years of grinding, Peter Chang has finally achieved a championship title by winning the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series Washington. And not just any regular championship tournament, but the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series, a prestigious tournament that would replace the previous Shonen Jump Championships, featuring a set of new and elusive ultra-rare prize cards, the 3 Dark Lords. Dark Lord Superbia, Dark Lord Asmodeus, Asmodeus and Dark Lord Ada Ari, and they now belong to Peter. But instead of celebrations and congratulations, the community was largely skeptical, beyond just the mere fact that it was Peter Chang. You see, at this event, Peter pulled off a complete upset. He played a Machina Gadget deck utilizing the Jinzo engine, but it wasn't exactly the most competitive deck. In fact, it was regarded as a significantly weaker deck that paled in power compared to the existing X-Saber and the newly released Infernity decks that were expected to dominate. His strategy was rather simple. The gadget monsters replaced themselves for free card advantage and fueled the Machina Fortress, who could be summoned by discarding another machine from the hand. Next, the Jinzo engine would supplement this, providing the only means of power for the deck to match the pace of the newer strategies, who had nearly outdated it completely. It would enable him to play Future Fusion, one of the strongest cards ever printed, that years later would even have its effect nerfed. But at the time, it allowed him to fusion summon by using resources directly from the deck instead of his hand and field, breaking the game mechanic completely. The monster wouldn't be summoned until the following turn, but
Oh my god. Yo, speaking of breaking game rules, I know you don't fucking play the new game. I know you don't play TCG Pocket anymore. But dude, they added stadiums and they broke the rules fucking with one of the cards. I fucking forgot. It's one of the mouse cards. You can literally just put a fucking stage 2 onto the thing without having a stage like a basic. Oh my god, it's the funniest shit. And he does like 180 to like 200, like almost to something. Cause he flips like 6 coins and does 80 damage per head. Fucking broken.
that didn't matter because resolving a Future Fusion would allow Peter to dump all of his machine monsters to the graveyard if he declared a summon of the Chimera Tech Overdragon, a boss monster that required Cyber Dragon and any number of machines as fusion material. This also meant he could dump 2 copies of Jinzo and 2 copies of Jinzo Returner from the deck to the graveyard. The baby Jinzos would then trigger, immediately reviving the 2 adult Jinzos, whose effects instantly kick in to negate all trap cards on the field, while presenting 4,800 damage on the board.
And it has the, and I think the attack, it says you can put any mouse cards onto the field, so you can put them right onto your bench right away. So fucking
At the same time. From there, he could revive the Machina Fortresses
good.
from the graveyard that were also dumped there via Future Fusion, thanks to their special summoning conditions to deal well over 8,000 damage in one single turn, and without any fear of staple disruptions like Mirror Force or Torrential Tribute. But the rest of the deck just wasn't very consistent and lacked significant
57
combos
minutes.
beyond Future Fusion, which was also limited to 1 copy per deck at the time due to rampant abuse in the past. It was basically the deck's only unfair advantage, so to speak. In addition to the deck being pretty slow, it was also full of bad cards to draw, like Jinzo, which you would be less than ecstatic to see in your opening hand, for it required a sacrifice to summon. Even the gadget monsters were much weaker than the other monsters on the block, and he would have to power them up using support cards like Solidarity, while relying on trap cards to control the game at his pace. So needless to say that getting carried by 1 card to winning a 1,000-person tournament was pretty OP. Which brings us to the conundrum. Peter
Sounds
would
like
have
a
to hard
Yugi
draw
card,
the Future
literally,
Fusion
dude.
because it wasn't searchable, unless your name is Peter Chan. Because after his win, even more rumors exploded online, with some players at the event claiming that instead of drawing Future
That's what
Fusion,
reminded
Peter
me
would
of it, 'cause
search
it
for it from
fucking-
his deck and
the
add it
literally
directly
Yugi
to his
card.
hand when
That's why I brought
resolving
it
the
up.
effects of his gadgets. Since the gadgets could add each other, rather than add the corresponding gadget and reveal it to his opponent as per the game policy, the story goes that Peter would add the Future Fusion from the deck to his hand face down by accident, say oopsies to the opponent, and then reveal a copy of another gadget that was already in his hand, telling them that that was a card he had searched. Other players would share similar anecdotes of sleight of hand when playing against Peter. Some accused him of deliberately testing illegal plays to see what he could get away with, and allegations of stacking while shuffling and using marked sleeves were again at the forefront. A few players even surmised
did
that Peter may have been
everything
taking
but be good
advantage
at
of
the
a
card
ruling
game
loophole. Though
to
this was
win.
never
That's
explicitly
crazy work.
proven, they would say that Peter may have utilized the effect of Baby Jinzo when it was sent to the graveyard for cost. You probably know by now, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an extremely complex game where card effects are taken extremely literally down to the exact word. And Jinzo Returner reads that when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Jinzo from your graveyard. The keyword being when, which in Yu-Gi-Oh! Terms means that it can only be triggered at the exact time that the card is sent to the graveyard. For example, when sent there via Future Fusion or a card like Foolish Burial. Being sent to the graveyard is the last thing that has to happen in order for the effect to meet its activation timing. But in Yu-Gi-Oh! Costs take place before a card or a summon resolves. So if Jinzo Returner is sent to the graveyard to pay for the cost of a card, for example, being tributed for a tribute summon, then the last thing to happen is a tribute summon itself and not Jinzo Returner being sent to the graveyard. So the game would automatically skip the trigger timing and the player would be unable to activate the effect. And this is the exact ruling if Jinzo Returner is sent from the hand to the graveyard to fulfill the summoning cost for Machina Fortress. It wouldn't be able to activate because Machina Fortress's summon takes place immediately after the cost, therefore stiffing the activation timing of the baby Jinzo. This being said, some players online would claim that Peter may have abused this throughout his tournament run. Since this was an obscure ruling that wasn't immediately obvious when reading the card at face value,
Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules piss me the fuck off, and they're like they're
taking a warning from the judge,
the lettering
if the
and
opponent
everything,
even bothered
bro.
to call a judge in the first place. Surprisingly, most
Because
Yu-Gi-Oh! players
even
are a lot
when-
more chill and reserved
even when they
it comes to
do
calling
it,
judges compared
they're
to
like, oh
other trading
yeah,
card
we
games that are
fucked
out
up.
there.
That we didn't mean it by that. Can we
Now, the
We
R&D team
refixed
would
the
later
wording.
patch this loophole by
I'm like,
rewarding
what the
optional
fuck,
when
dude?
effects to if instead, therefore allowing future cards
See
to
what I
activate
mean?
even when
See
sent
what
to
I
the
mean?
graveyard.
I
by
was
text.
literally
Now,
just
the
talking
R&D
about
team
that.
would later patch this.
what I fucking tell you?
Now, the R&D team would later patch this loophole by rewarding optional when effects to if instead, therefore allowing future cards to activate even when sent to the graveyard by cost in order to avoid abuse and confusion. But despite the rumors, no one could explicitly validate the claims against Peter. While most of the community completely disregarded Machina Gadgets as a viable contender because it was Peter Chang that won with them, there were a few voices that weren't fully convinced that Peter had cheated because there wasn't any hard evidence of it. I mean, in hindsight, it does seem a little ridiculous that Peter's opponents would be okay with him searching his deck for a card face down, adding it to his hand, shuffling his hand, and then showing them a random card from their hand that was the gadget. Especially at a competitive championship rules enforcement level, because in Yu-Gi-Oh! Any card that's searched from the deck to the hand has to be revealed to the opponent. Now, perhaps Peter may have used other sleight of hand to make this possible, but it's more than likely that this was just a meme that snowballed and spiraled out of control online because of Peter's history of making illegal plays. But on the other hand, to add some more suspicions, it was also the first major tournament after the release of the Shining Darkness, a powerful set that forever changed the landscape of the game. It would bring power creep to an entirely new level that was never witnessed before, with the support for X-Saber and the highly anticipated release of Infernity, a deck that defied any prior sense of Yu-Gi-Oh! Logic. Previously, gaining card advantage and resources required setup, often taking multiple turns and being earned as payoffs through difficult means. But the Infernity deck was highly explosive and could overwhelm the field with near endless resources out of nowhere, granting the user the ability to set up a near unbreakable end board or just attack and win in one single turn. The deck's gimmick relied on the user having no cards in their hand, and once the requirement was met, all of the effects became live. Their signature card, the Infernity Archfiend, could search the deck for any Infernity card when it was special summoned. Infernity Necromancer would then revive the Infernity Archfiend, and 3 copies of Infernity Launcher could revive both Archfiend and Necromancer, creating a mini loop as Archfiend would then search for another copy of Infernity Launcher to reborn over and over again. Built-in tuner monsters allowed the deck to summon a plethora of synchro monsters like the Mistworm to spin back the opponent's field, while Infernity Break could disrupt the opponent's cards. As if this wasn't enough, they also released a TCG exclusive card in the form of Infernity Barrier. This was an in-archetype Solemn Judgment that could negate any opposing card, making the deck complete overkill. X-Saber, on the other hand, was already an existing powerful deck in the metagame. Double X-Saber Gotams could easily loop the opponent's hand for multiple cards. Cold Wave and Trap Stun could lock the opponent from using traps, while Double X-Saber Hyanlei could then destroy up to 3 of them. Their ace main deck monster, the Rescue Cat, could swarm the field and even enable crazy degenerate turn 1 combos. But the Shining Darkness would introduce another TCG exclusive, this time for the X-Sabers as Double X-Saber Dark Soul, who allowed the player to search for an X-Saber monster during the end phase of the turn that it was sent to the graveyard. The exact card that the deck lacked for follow-up and resource management, because now we had a body that we could synchro away while getting a search in the end phase. The other TCG exclusive, Double X-Saber Bogart Knight, allowed the player to special summon another X-Saber monster from their hand, easily placing 2 bodies onto the field to enable Double X-Saber Fall Troll. There was just one problem. A search is not exactly the term I should use for Double X-Saber Dark Souls effect. You see, this was the first card that was worded in such a way where the search would be delayed, causing uncertainty about how it would work. Previously, cards like Sangam would trigger immediately when they were sent from the field to the graveyard,
Yu-Gi-Oh
and we didn't
has
have any
the
precedent for
worst
something that would
fucking,
search
oh,
in the end phase. Therefore, it was left to the judge's interpretation, and they would rule that Dark Soul triggered immediately when he was sent from field to the graveyard, meaning that the same copy of Dark Soul could be resurrected and sent there yet again, accumulating multiple searches off of one single copy. Though this would later be overruled.
That's how I know
years
I
later.
cheated
At
when
the
I was
time,
young
it would
too.
push X-Sabers
It's
to
like,
even
oh no, I
greater
can do
heights
this
than
right
ever
now.
imaginable. And armed with
Don't
heavy
worry about
graveyard
it.
disruption like
It
the
says
DB
I can
Pro
do-
and the
I can do
anti-dark
whatever the
floodgate
fuck I
consecrated
want.
light, the deck could go toe-to-toe with Infernity, resulting in a stalemate of power.
I cheated
with 7
so hard
X-Saber
when I
and
was
7
younger
Infernity
playing
decks
Yu-Gi-Oh!
both making the top 32 cut of the tournament. So you can probably see why it was borderline impossible for Machina Gadgets, a deck that had received 0 new support from this game-breaking brand new set, to defeat multiple X-Saber and multiple Infernity decks across 15 rounds to win this tournament. And in the finals of this event, 7 judges were watching the match from every possible angle to ensure that Peter Chang did not pull any shenanigans. I'm not even joking. This was actually what happened. Yeah, they really wanted to cover their bases. And with the pressure on, he would defeat YPFL Stephen Harris, an Infernity player who, interestingly enough, Peter knew was not playing the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Fortress Dragon was a direct counter to any machine deck, for it was a unique fusion monster that could be made without polymerization. Rather, the card introduced the concept of contact fusion,
How did he
allowing
know?
the user to simply send away the fusion materials from the field to the graveyard as long as they were all present on the field. It was specifically printed as a countermeasure to the advent of powerful machine decks that had plagued the game over the past couple of years, and its fusion materials would require Cyber Dragon plus any number of machine monsters from either side of the field. This meant that a regular player could even utilize Peter's own Cyber Dragon, alongside his other machine monsters, to wipe his entire board on a whim. But at the very last minute before submitting his deck list, Harris decided to play an additional Synchro monster over Chimera Tech, theorizing that nobody would be crazy enough to play Machina Gadgets at this event. But evidently, Peter was crazy enough. This meant that he was able to keep his Cyber Dragon on the field without any fear of his machines being wiped away by one single fusion summon, adding additional pressure to his board, ultimately contributing to his victory alongside the fact that Harris somehow drew the worst possible hands. The forums went absolutely crazy. Peter Chang, who everyone thought to be an egregious cheater, had won a championship event, and with the last deck anyone would have possibly imagined. Players had already begun buying out X-Saber and Infernity cards overnight with the expectation that one of these 2 decks would easily sweep the event. But they were wrong. He had to have cheated, said the community, who completely dismissed Peter's victory with such an unconventional strategy. But outside of the allegations of potential misconduct, many players also brought forward anecdotes about Peter's overall character, with some claiming that he was highly egoistical and erratic, often rushing his opponents into making misplays, angle shooting, or carelessly grabbing their cards without permission. Others even hated his voice. It seemed like everyone had a reason to dislike the man, even more so now that he held a championship title. But regardless of whether or not Peter cheated, the general consensus seemed to agree that he was highly annoying to play against. In a Reddit thread titled "What's the worst player you ever dueled?" on the r/Yu-Gi-Oh subreddit, a hefty amount of replies were about Peter Chang. It seemed that a lot of players on the competitive circuit had witnessed his shenanigans at one point or another. With the spotlight illuminating his elevated notoriety, players began to complain about his apparent invulnerability. It seemed that no matter what penalties or disqualifications Peter received, he would receive no further suspensions. "I don't cheat. It's just I'm good and you're not," he would proclaim
That's
online.
fucking
But some
crazy,
players
dog.
decided to take matters into
He
their
said,
own
"I don't
hands."
cheat.
You
You
see,
just
at a
suck,
regional tournament
dog.
just a
Get
week
good."
after his championship win, Peter would get jumped by a group of rare hunters trying to steal the coveted prize cards that he had brought with him to show off. But luckily for him, he would narrowly avoid
Are those one of one, by the way? Like,
prize cards
are those the only ones in existence? Is what I want to know. Is that No one else can have a Dark Lord as if it is, that's that's kind of cool. That sucks, dude. He got a 9 on both of these. I would get shit on.
Said he had brought with him to show off. But luckily for him, he would narrowly avoid disaster. And if you didn't believe that Yu-Gi-Oh could be serious business, well now you know. As a result, Peter would take a low profile over the next couple of weeks, but quickly found himself back into the swing of things to test for the upcoming National Championship, the largest tournament of the year that would qualify a handful of players for the prestigious World Championship. But only 2 months later, things would finally devolve for this devoted duelist. In the year of 2010, Peter would attend the Yu-Gi-Oh National Championship, and inside of the convention hall during check-in on Friday, he would sit down at a table with friends to work on their deck list and collectively theorize what the best tech cards would be. But as they lost themselves in the conversation, a judge suddenly tapped Peter on the shoulder, and at that moment, he would inform Peter that he was banned from organized play, effective immediately. Apparently as a further consequence of his original disqualification from Shonen Jump Los Angeles earlier that year, but also as an additional penalty in regards to another disqualification from a regional tournament that took place at some point between his championship victory and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals. But the rules committee would have to confer with their higher-ups to determine whether or not a suspension was warranted. And though it took some time, they had finally come to the green light to ban Peter Chang from organized play. After being caught on multiple different occasions with suspicious shuffling, conspicuous sleeves, performing illegal plays, and numerous penalties and multiple disqualifications, Peter's guardian angel had done all it could, and the consequences had finally caught up to him. And at that very moment, Peter would be forced to leave not only the venue, but also the game itself for the next few years. Understandably, he was completely crushed. This was a devastating blow to a large part of his life that he devoted so much time and effort to. But if there's at least one takeaway from the story so far, we know that Peter was extremely determined. And even a forceful setback like this would not stop him.
Don't be a cheater, dog.
5 years later, Peter Chang would return with an even greater vengeance. By now, the game was a lot more popular, and events were getting way more players than before. And at the same time, not only had the power creep completely changed the game
even
itself,
better?
but there were also complex online simulators
Stronger.
where the best players could practice, competitive articles and guides available online, and less secrets that were held by the inner circles of the pro players. It was a completely new generation of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!
What
Online forums were slowly being
What secrets, dog? Honestly, what fucking secrets do Yu-Gi-Oh have other than reading the fucking cards and maybe knowing like small strategies of like fucking, oh yeah, this, if you fucking pair this card with this is fucking legit. But it's like I don't know. What?
drained of their culture as a trend towards social media and Facebook
It's not like fucking, in my opinion, Smash, where you fucking learn shit. You know what I mean? Like actual tech.
groups had facilitated
I don't know.
discussion and
Am I
theory,
just
pushing even the average player
am I
at this
just not a
time to
like
one that would have
a smart
dominated the
Yu-Gi-Oh
scene
player?
only 5 years prior.
I don't know.
But Peter, of course, was still following the game even during his ban. And now that he could enter tournaments and sanctioned events once again, he quickly adapted. Defeating thousands of players, he would make top 32 of both YCS Columbus and the National Championship in 2015 with his new favorite deck, the Teller Knights, a strategy whose signature monster ironically searched for another copy of a Teller Knight monster from his deck, just like the gadgets. Yeah, Peter seemed to love cards that would search his deck. It was almost a combination of his two favorite decks in the past, Lightsworn and Gadgets. His confidence with the Teller Knights would also propel him to win the Ultimate Duelist Series, an exclusive tournament comprising of the nation's top-ranked players, granting him the championship belt and also 2 buys for the first 2 rounds of all foreseeable tournaments to come. This was a prestigious achievement that only the upper echelon of duelists had ever attained, once again engraving Peter Chang into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh history. It quickly became obvious that Peter Chang was once again a force to be reckoned with, though whether due to pure skill was less than debatable, at least according to the general opinion online. His explosive resurrection was certainly less than the community had anticipated, but at the same time, it reinvigorated the excitement of having a scandalous player in the relatively calm competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene. And in the following year, Peter Chang would find continued success, landing himself in the top 16 16 of YCS Columbus, again with Heller Knights, and in the top 32 of YCS Providence with Cosmo. It was without a doubt that the man had a compelling mind when it came to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! While other players experimented with different options, Peter was an early pioneer of utilizing just one singular deck across multiple events until mastery, a notion that would become popular years later. His core theory and methodology within the game was definitely well ahead of its time, but unsurprisingly, Peter's tactics would once again catch up with him, and at the start of the 2017 season, Peter would be disqualified and banned yet again for an extended period of time. With his legacy frozen, the community would largely forget about Peter Chang once again, but nothing would prepare them for what would happen next. If you're enjoying this video, I just want to let you know that there's a lot more content like this in the horizon, so thanks for hitting that subscribe button and liking the video. I want to let you know that there's a lot. If you're enjoying,
I don't know why, but that glove goes so fucking hard. Like, it was just the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're just like, yeah, fucking get the glove on, get the stars. That shit was so fucking lit, dog. I fucking loved this season, dog. It was this fucking got me into Yu-Gi-Oh so hard. Fucking, I was like, I need cards after this, dude. Got the cards. Oh my god, this shit was so lit.
this video, I just want to let you know that there's
Gotta rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh,
a
dog.
lot more content like this in the horizon, so thanks for
Watch
hitting
it
that
on
subscribe button
stream.
and liking the
Fuck
video.
it.
I'm just saying,
Both
these are
of
just so.
Both of these monsters cannot be on the field right now.
But I'm just saying, like,
Chill out,
I'm
chill out,
just
chill out.
saying. I'm just saying, cause. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying the moves are so basic. Oh my freaking god.
Where's my healer?
In 2017, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Had grown to be extremely popular. But in the competitive scene, there was a pressing issue. Players had slowly become disillusioned with the way that the game was being run officially. Formal rulings like for Double X Saber Dark
2017? Really? Huh.
Soul were often delayed for months or years because Konami Japan overseas was in charge of setting up these rulings and giving context to the judges, but for whatever reason they just never did. Tournaments also failed to distribute any cash prizing, providing only prize cards and playmats instead, which was hardly a consolidation considering a lot of the players were spending hundreds and thousands of dollars to travel and accommodate themselves.
I think that's
for
like
these
the
major
one thing I
tournaments.
would
Not to
never
mention
wanted
the
to
other
get into
popular card
Yu-Gi-Oh!
games at the time
No.
all had lucrative
Exactly, dude. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the only fucking card game that doesn't give you fucking money. Like, it gets shit on so hard for that, dog. Like, it's even Pokemon gives you money, dog.
cash prizes. Whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh!, making even the top 16 of a 2,000-man tournament would mean you get a felt playmat and some booster packs as the sole prizing. The ridiculousness
sell
of which
those.
would expand into top 8, with players receiving an Xbox 360
What the
when
fuck?
the Xbox One had already been out for nearly 1 full year.
That's
so basically,
crazy
to earn your
work.
money back, or to be profitable, so to speak, as a professional Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, you would have to make top 3 at the very minimum in order to get a copy of the prize card that could be sold for significant value on the secondary market. So needless to say, a lot of the players had become slowly more and more disillusioned and were pissed off. But a large and popular Texas game store named Ultra Reality Games, or ARG for short, took advantage of the situation and launched their own circuit of tournaments. And you guessed it, with cash money on the line. Much like the Star City game circuit for Magic the
I need 30 more minutes.
Gathering, these events were pushed by
the
many pro
spotlight,
players who
boys.
partnered with the brand and boasted better policies, up-to-date rulings, and a generous lump sum should you win or place well in the tournament. They would put a focus on content and social media, live streaming each event, and often with commentary from prominent players on the mic, providing a feel that was akin to that of early Smash Brothers tournaments like Genesis or grassroots tournaments in the FGC. Feature matches were chosen by the audience with a focus specifically on well-known players, and tournament records of these players and their storylines were placed at the forefront of coverage. Rivalries and grudge matches were common, top-notch content that would have never been featured on an official Yu-Gi-Oh! channel.
Okay, yeah, we'll play $500. Okay, I'll cancel. Alright, you're gonna talk shit, you can talk to my face. Alright? and I don't play that shit. So Tennessee beating this motherfucker's ass for $500. You better sure you bring that shit.
But most importantly, these tournaments generated immense hype for the game, which was never before seen. It would be the perfect stomping grounds for Peter, for he was otherwise suspended from official tournament play. And unsurprisingly, Peter would instantly set his focus on grinding the ARG circuit, attending several events with little problem, and receiving a handful of feature matches, to which the YouTube comments could be pretty amusing. But one particular match would catch the attention of the entire world and bring the spotlight on Peter Chang once more. ARG Championship Series Springfield 2017. It's round 5 and Peter is currently 5-0. He sits down to meet face-to-face with Fraser Smith, a pro player with a championship win himself, alongside dozens of other accolades. Fraser had previously won YCS Atlanta using a unique Gravekeeper strategy during a graveyard-based plant synchro metagame, but he had since taken a break for some time and was just returning to the game. The tournament format would revolve around Zodiac, a powerful engine that could be played as its own pure deck or splashed into other strategies. They would completely break the Xyz mechanic, which previously allowed the player to summon out an extra deck monster by stacking 2 or more monsters with the same levels on top of each other. But with the Zodiacs, the extra deck monsters could be overlaid on top of one single monster. It was textbook power creep at its finest. Zodiac Broadbow could search for another Zodiac monster from the deck, while Zodiac Trident was an endboard piece that could destroy a face-up card during either player's turn. Now this of course already generated unreal advantage from just one single monster, being able to search for a card to replace itself and then also destroy a card on your turn and another card on the opponent's turn at the minimum. But it gets even better. You see, their signature monster, the Zodiac Rapier, could special summon 2 more copies of itself from the deck whenever it was overlaid as a material. The new copies of Rapier could then be overlaid into any other rank 4, with Daigusto Emerald being the premium choice, for it could then recycle back the Zodiac Rapiers to draw a card and allow for the Rapier loop to be conducted again on the next turn. While Fraser utilized a pendulum Zodiac strategy with Metaphors, Peter would instead combine his Zodiacs with the Infernoid engine. It seems that Peter would be nostalgic about prior decks that he'd seen success with, for just like the Lightsworns, the Infernoids were heavily mill reliant. They could resurrect themselves from the graveyard by banishing other Infernoids, and had explosive effects that could wipe the entire field, while negating either a spell or trap card in the case of Anoku, or a monster effect with Deviati. But the Zodiacs meshed really well into this strategy, because the Rapier combo could end on Bujinte Kagutsuchi, a rank 4 who could mill 5 cards from the top of the deck. So imagine being able to search a Zodiac monster, pop up to 2 cards, and also mill 5 cards from the top of your deck thanks to one lone monster. That's how broken the Zodiac engine was. But that's not all, because the deck also had access to one of the strongest in-engine cards ever printed, and also very much like Peter's favorite card, the Future Fusion. You see, just like Future Fusion, Void Imagination let the user fusion summon by using monsters from their deck, as long as the opponent controlled a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. This would be used to fusion summon the Infernoid Tierra, who could be made using any number of Infernoid monsters, meaning just like the Chimeratech Overdragon, the user would effectively send all of the Infernoid names from their deck to the graveyard, which of course could be brought back using their own effects. Upon summon, Infernoid Tierra would allow both players to send the top 3 cards of their deck to the graveyard, and also 3 cards from the extra deck to the graveyard as well, allowing Peter to send copies of Elder Entity Entis to pop a free card on the field, Cyframe Lord Omega to disrupt the opponent's graveyard, or just additional copies of Tierra to serve as fodder to banish from the graveyard to resurrect the other Infernoids. An unfathomable level of advantage from one single card, meaning just like Future Fusion, if Void Imagination resolved, the game was effectively over on the spot. The Infernoid Zodiac deck had everything that Peter liked in the past, from milling to activating Future Fusion. But the downside of course was having to play Infernoid monsters who really aren't that appealing to draw on their own. But here's where the deck had an edge. It could take advantage of That Grass Looks Greener, one of the strongest cards in the history of the game. Grass would allow the user to mill cards from the top of their deck equal to the difference in their deck size and the opponent's. Since a minimum deck count was 40, most players would play exactly this number to maximize the chances of drawing the strongest cards in their deck. With Grass, however, the player could easily max their deck count to 60, meaning a guaranteed mill for at least 20 cards against most opponents that were playing 40, or even more cards if the opponent went first and had already thinned their deck via searching. Resolving Grass would fill the graveyard with a plethora of Infernoids and also Fairy Tale Snow, a monster with an on-demand quick effect that summoned itself back by banishing any 7 cards from the graveyard, just like Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Upon summon, Snow was a disruption as it flipped an opposing monster face down. And for this reason, with Grass being so overpowered, the deck also played 3 copies of Left Arm Offering, a card that can search for any spell card in your deck in including grass, but at the steep cost of banishing the player's entire hand. And game 1 would start with Peter winning the die roll, activating left arm offering, only to discard his entire hand to the graveyard instead of banishing it. His very first action of the game
Wow,
was
he
an illegal
cheated
play that was so egregiously
right off the
illegal
bat.
that
That's
it's
crazy
honestly
work.
kind of surprising. The
Dog.
card itself says banished. If it discarded, it would be way too broken, especially with a
How the Oh.
graveyard-based deck that wants to mill. Peter's excuse later on would be that he had only picked up the deck 5 minutes prior to the tournament and his friend had made the deck completely for him, even though it was round 5 and both players were undefeated. On top of this, he did this in a feature match that was live streamed in 4K HD to thousands of people around the world.
I don't know
But what
about
was more
4K.
shocking
Oh,
was
never
the
mind.
fact
That is
neither
actually
Fraser
nice.
nor the judge would
Call it.
immediately catch
Yeah, I don't
this.
know about that
Though,
one.
in Fraser's defense, he did mention that he was on hiatus and took a long time break, so he didn't really know all of the cards to the exact wire. Of course, the chat
wouldn't
at the
say
time would
4K.
go
I wouldn't say
completely
4K.
bonkers, having caught the error and attempting to notify the commentators and the staff. Though some time would pass before someone finally caught wind of it, so play would continue as normal, with Peter activating the search copy of Grass, now milling a large chunk of his deck, which surprisingly lacked a chunk of Infernoid names. In fact, it was probably one of the worst possible mills. But he would be able to bring back an Infernoid Deviati by banishing the few 3 names that he did have in the graveyard, including at least one that he happened to discard with left arm offering, meaning that the first illegal play had now created a second illegal play. Play passes over to Fraser, who then normal summons a copy of Eccentric Archfiend, now threatening the Deviati. So Peter is forced to banish 7 cards from his graveyard to resurrect the Fairy Tale Snow and flip face down the Archfiend Eccentric. But as Fraser lays down his next 2 cards,
Play is immediately halted.
the head judge sits down at the table, having been alerted from the Twitch chat that something, fishy to say the least, had occurred earlier in the game.
Oh, you have to banish your hand? He discarded his
Oh, I
hand.
discarded mine, yeah.
Oh, crap.
I just...
What's up,
Neither
Beast?
Fraser nor Peter can remember the original contents of Peter's hand, so the judges
Wow,
have no choice
what,
but to huddle
dude?
together and talk it over.
Bro, you get in your feelings
After a
way
few
too
minutes
fast.
of heavy deliberation, the judges
Calm down.
return to the table to inform the players that the game state is now irreparable because so much has happened since Peter discarded his hand. Peter argues that it's his first time playing the deck and he had no idea, and even asked for them to rewind the stream to try and piece together their hands so play can be rewinded. But at this point, it's kind of hard to do that when a bajillion cards have been milled
That's
and
in
an
like 30
entire
minutes.
turn
We
has
got the
passed.
event
It's going to
announcement
be
in like
a
30
procedural error
minutes.
for both players, a warning for
Overwatch
Fraser,
Spotlight.
and a game loss for you. As you do gain mass advantage from not banishing your hand there.
Should have just said something earlier. I mean,
Uh,
the judge is right here.
I mean, to be honest, a game
I'm
loss
always
is
getting
the
lower end of the
minimum
deck.
for something that happens like this. I could be taking you over to a table and talking to you right now, but I'm not, because I don't think
So
it was
this is-
intent. I
okay,
think it was
so-
just accidental.
Instead of being grateful to the head judge, who had given Peter the minimum possible penalty, as he didn't believe that Peter deliberately made the illegal play, assaulted
You're at
Peter
work.
complains that the table judge
Imagine
should
not
have caught
being
his
fucking-
illegal play
imagine not
earlier and not waited
having
until
my stream
Fraser actually
open
drew
while
his
you
card for
working.
turn. Even though it was his own fault
What
in
kind
the
of
first
fan are
place
you?
that the
Shaking my
illegal
head.
play even happened.
The judge should have just said something earlier.
But we,
You know what I'm saying?
no one at this table knew what that.
Yeah, I'm saying you just said something
Yeah.
earlier, not let it go to your turn and then say something.
Alright. Don't be mean, Peter.
No, I'm just saying.
I understand. Don't be mean.
Just saying. If they had said it earlier, we could have fixed that.
Absolutely, but
Peter receives a game loss penalty, so he's now down 0-1 in the best of 3. The community goes absolutely crazy. Twitch chat, Reddit, Facebook groups are all once again talking about Peter Chang. Cheater Pang had returned.
What are they saying?
Peter Chang's on stream cheating with us.
Oh, great. This is gonna look bad.
yeah.
Always is.
There's some uncomfortable silence as the two players side deck for the next game,
Bro's the
with
biggest
Peter
cheater.
opting to go first since he lost. He looks at his hand for a
Acting like
minute,
he doesn't.
pondering, then activates Zodiac Barrage to special summon a Zodiac Rapier from his deck, commencing the Rapier combo by overlaying into Borbo, then Tiger Mortar, detaching Boar so he can special summon a second copy of Rapier from the deck via its own effect. Standard plays, of course. He then proceeds further into the combo, overlaying Broadbow over Tiger Mortar, resetting the first Rapier's effect so it can be used to special summon a third copy copy from his deck. But as he goes through his deck for the other rapier, he shortcuts the other effective Zodiac Broadbow, who can detach a material to search for a Zodiac monster. Except Peter completely forgets to detach a material for the cost of this effect. Illegal play number 3 of this match. This also makes it so he only has 2 monsters in his graveyard. His next
What's
play, as he's not
happening,
allowed to
Zero?
legally use the effect of his Daigusto
Made it in
Emerald to
time
shuffle
for the
back 3
Overwatch
monsters from the
spotlight.
graveyard into the deck,
Starts in
since there's
30
only 2
minutes.
monsters in the graveyard at the time of the activation.
How you
You
been,
don't have
man?
enough targets.
You
have to have
Oh,
three
right, I'm
monsters
sorry.
I need to pay attention.
Yeah, like, how the fuck did I fuck that up? Give me a second.
Yeah, what'd you do wrong, Peter? What did you do?
Yeah,
wrong?
like, what
This combo always ends with Daigusto Emerald. How did you mess this up?
Yeah, what the fuck happened?
Illegal play number 4. Now, I genuinely want to believe that Peter made an honest mistake here, because it's certainly not in his favor if he can't resolve the Daigusto Emerald to draw the free card. But it seems like he initially caught himself when he goes to detach and realizes that it's an illegal action. But then he tries to go
You're
through
at
with
work?
it again before the judge stops him.
See,
so take
now
that for what
this
you
is a
will.
real
Now, at this
fan.
point, both Peter
Unlike
and his
Beast, he's
opponent
like,
are
"Oh, I gotta
confused
go,
and are
I'm
wondering
at
what the
work,
heck he just did, because the
can't
current
watch
game state makes
stream.
absolutely zero
I'm
sense.
I'm kidding. How's work, man?
I'm so done with this game. I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore. I'm done. I want to go home. I just want to go home. I have no idea what just happened.
What should have been an extremely linear and standard combo line has somehow been fudged, and the numbers are just not adding up. As Peter mutters to himself, he proceeds to activate Void Banishment to try and search for Void Feast, a trap card that strengthens his end board and would summon out multiple Infernoids during the opponent's turn, all while asking himself what the hell he just did wrong. But little does he know, he's about to make illegal play number 5, though we'll get back to this in a second. At this moment, the table judge points out that he hadn't detached from his broadbow for the effect of Rapier earlier,
I meant,
something
like,
that's still
what
easily
are you
fixable,
doing?
though technically at a warning for Peter, which the judge forgets
That's
to give
what I
him.
meant.
Chat told me to remind you to detach for something. Detach for bullet search.
Oh, I guess it was that. You probably were supposed to detach for that.
Okay, alright. So,
That's-
yeah, that's
yeah.
like, wait, something happened. That's
Yeah,
why.
something went wrong.
Yes.
To make things even more confusing, Peter then asks the judge if he still has to activate the Void Banishment, or if they can rewind to him shuffling and drawing a card first.
So, do I even still need to do this first? Because I was originally going to do that.
Oh god, I don't want to play anymore. Don't ask me anything.
All right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
What happened?
I think I was supposed to detach.
What's between you two? God, can this not be my life right now?
I'm still going to make this move anyway.
I just want to play you.
Hold on. Don't make any moves.
Okay,
yet.
okay.
Peter decides that the outcome is the same anyways, so he proceeds with his next play.
Yes, just stay here. Just saying.
Yo, please.
Peter overlays for Zodiac Trident
Do
and then
internet
tributes the
installation?
Daigusto
Hell
Emerald to
yeah.
summon
I
out
need you to
Vanity's
come to my
Fiend,
house
a powerful
and
card that he
install
brought
my
in from his
shit
side
better
deck
than
that
these
locks
fools.
his opponent out from special summoning.
I need to do that
As if
too. I
this
need to
wasn't
call him
enough,
because
he
my
then
fucking
passes his
router's
turn
in my
and flips up the
not in my
anti-spell
living room where I
fragments,
want it to
locking
be,
the
and I
opponent
just been
completely
lacking
out of
and
any
fucking
spell
calling
cards
them
during
to
their
fucking
turn.
fix
With the
that
Void
shit.
Beast poised to summon out 3
I don't know
Infernoids
why the
during
fuck
Fraser's
there's only,
turn,
like,
and
one
the Vanity's
cable that
Fiend preventing
fucking
him from summoning
they
any
added
monsters. This is effectively an
in the house.
unbreakable end board that should be an
You know how there's
automatic win for
usually,
Peter.
like,
Even worse for
multiple
Fraser is the fact
cable
that he drew is
outlets.
one of in the
For
form
some
of
reason,
Speedrun
there
Attack
isn't
on
one in my
Combo,
living
a
room.
useless engine piece that you'd never want to draw. While Fraser
I-
would
I
have
can
probably
probably
scooped up his
just
cards immediately against
maybe
any other
get,
player,
like,
in
an
the back of his head,
extender,
he
but-
still knew that he was playing against Peter Chang. And if the first game
You
was
think
any
I'll be
indication,
better?
anything can happen when you're playing against Peter
Should
Chang.
I just
And
get
the
it,
longer that
do
you
it
stay in the
myself,
game,
and just
the
bring the
more likely
router
it is that
all
he
the way
might
down
have made
here?
an illegal play.
Because I don't
which
want
he did,
wires
because the
going
judge
through my
suddenly
house
pauses
type
the
shit,
game yet
bro. That's
again.
why.
So,
Otherwise, I would have a big ass fucking wire of like fucking LAN cable. You know what I mean? L house. I know,
Is it because
dog.
you activated that card? Does that card do something?
Imagine.
Yeah, you can't normal special summon monsters other than Infernoids.
So this is why I was supposed to do this first. So, like, this is unbelievable.
This is another error in game state.
I'm done. Just what is happening?
No, I
Someone
know
in the chat
Wired
had
is
noticed
better.
that Peter cheated yet
That's the
again by
thing.
summoning
I just
non-infernoid
need
monsters
them
after resolving his void banishment. You see,
to
void banishment
drill
has
a
a line of
hole
text at the very end that says for the rest of the
on
turn
this
after
side
you
and
resolve
put
this
the
card's
cable through
effect,
here.
you cannot summon any monsters except for infernoids. And Fraser even picked up this card to read earlier, but it has so much text that it was just easy to miss.
You can discard one card, add one void from your deck, except okay. Also, you cannot normal summon for the rest of the turn, okay.
So in this very basic combo line, Peter had effectively messed up everything. He was supposed to summon out the Zodiac Trident and Vanity's Fiend before activating the Void Banishment as the final layer of his combo, so the monster lock wouldn't matter. But he didn't.
So you can't even summon Vanity's Fiend?
No.
Oh my god.
See, I told you this was supposed to be done first, and then this is supposed to be at the end. But you know.
Oh yeah, you cannot. He can't do this or this.
Yeah, no, he can't do either.
I'm so
That's
bad.
what I'm saying.
I
This
just-
was supposed to be
okay.
done first.
Yo, he
and
can't
then,
do
like
either
he
one
said,
of
I
these
had to
things.
disarm.
Oh, your whole field is illegal.
It's supposed to be activated last. I knew that. Oh my freaking god.
This is the most.
We went from a game one, game lost to.
Oh my
procedural,
god.
And then.
It's
then
not like
you
it's
went-
intentional.
Okay, so you didn't even somehow you pulled off activating an XC without detaching and didn't get a procedural. out.
That's why I said like, where did it go?
Yeah, but that's my problem right now. I'm too lazy to call them, and I know they're gonna charge me money for it, and I don't want them to do that right now because I'm trying to do some stuff with my money.
Wrong? Like this happens
Yeah,
all the
he went to
time.
go for that.
I just
Yeah,
need
right.
them
And
to
now you're
drill
trying
a
to
fucking
get
hole
versus
and
procedural.
put the fucking
After-
cable through here. I don't know how the fuck
I'm
they're gonna
just
do
saying,
that,
like,
but
it's not
they better
intentional.
fucking do
These moves
that.
are just these moves are just.
I don't want a cable
I
going through my
know.
house.
But I'm
Low
just
key.
saying
Both
these are
of these-
just so.
Both of these monsters cannot be on the field right now.
Like,
Right,
you-
yeah,
you,
no.
you know where a procedural error goes after. Like,
I
procedural
know,
game
but I'm
loss, right?
saying like this was. I don't know how it walked up to this. You know what I'm saying? Like this is so. It's so.
Peter realizes this, but has little to say beyond
It's so basic, and
The
it's
end
like
result- the end-
these moves are just so basic. They're not like.
30
And these
minutes
are just
outgoing.
like
Someone
basic
century.
moves from these.
Someone talking
you
time
know.
board.
God, this is like the most common basic moves, and it's like.
Then why are you messing
No,
them
I'm
up?
just saying, cause
the chat and the head judge were really
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's because these fools are fucking whack, dude. They literally they're like, oh yeah, they want you won't. I think they will. I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's my from what I think is that is if they send someone an expert to do it, they were in the beginning, but I don't know if I can do it myself. Yeah, but I know, but I can. I just what? I just grab that cable that's outside and just drill it through here, through my shit. And that means I have to grab that fucking cable outside and then take it out and then put it through here. Got like 10 more minutes for
unamused. In
Spotlight.
addition to this, Peter had gone
20
away
more
scot-free without receiving even a warning for his illegal plays earlier in the match. He doesn't really have anything to defend himself with besides his new catchphrase.
these moves are just like the basic moves, you know? Oh my freaking god! And it's just a basic turn one move. It's not even like no, but it's so
And I'm not going to
basic.
DQ you.
I'm just saying the moves are so basic,
And
and it's
that's what
just
you should be happy.
the moves are just so basic. It's
No.
unreal what's happening.
Because they
what?
were technically basic moves, but he kept repeating himself as if there was some sliver of hope that the judges would let him rewind and actually do the combo the right way.
It's not like there was any interaction with this move. They're just basic moves. This was like. It's not even like there was any interact. Basic. I don't know where it went wrong.
I think he went wrong getting into the car this morning.
I keep hearing basic, and I'm like, I feel like he's a white girl right now. It's like-
He's like, it's so basic. It's so basic.
Either way, the match is over.
And it's just a basic turn one move. It's not even like this was like. It's not even like there was any interaction in
Oh,
the game.
God.
You turn. Oh my freaking god.
Where's my healer? I need my healer. Oh. Oh, this is so ugly. I can't.
You've actually left me
I'm
with that
just
choice.
saying.
At one point, he would seemingly get annoyed and would even proceed to blame the judges.
Because he
Yeah,
keeps
like-
coming over and saying, I'm just saying. But
No,
you're
I
not
know,
saying
but
it-
you're
you're
not
saying it
hearing
after
me.
the
I
move is
want
done.
my
And you're not saying
router
anything either.
Because I'm
in
saying
my
what
living.
these do.
I
saying that
don't
they
want
didn't point out his
the
illegal
cable.
moves, and they were
I don't
distracting
want
him
the
by
LAN
walking back
Cat
and forth to
6
his
whatever
table to check on the
cable
game.
This is unreal. I hope
going
you
through
know.
my
I
living.
just hope you know.
Do you feel me?
I'm letting you know.
I
Oh
want
my
literally
God.
my
He literally did
modem
nothing. And like no
just
one is
sit
like
right on my
saying this
desk,
after the move's already done.
right next to it, right here.
Well, thanks, Judge. You're a real help, by the way.
But yeah,
Anybody else
that's-
literally that would have not had fun. Just saying.
I have no comments. I am simply going to go to the bathroom. Watch
This
the show
is
on my phone.
actually just insane.
The stream chat went absolutely crazy. Fraser had only played a total of 4 Yu-Gi-Oh cards, only to win the match 2-0, including a game that was basically unwinnable.
Yeah, this has to be crazy on stream. I just know.
I know.
I just know the stream has been going crazy. I've literally drawn 2
Yeah,
cards.
that's what I
Game
mean.
one,
They're gonna
some
come
are
in
centric, game two,
and
some are talking about
situate the
this is all done.
situation, and they
You know,
actually
that's
have
what
to
I'm
do work.
Actual
You
hard
know, they
evidence
have to
of
do
Peter's
that bullshit.
shenanigans
That's
had
why
finally
they'll
unraveled to the
do
world
that.
in front of
That's why I'm not
thousands of
doing it
people
yet.
watching. The legendary moment would forever
I
be
don't
embedded
mind
in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Peter's defense, it was apparently his
the
first
cable,
time ever
but
playing the deck, and Peter's
I'll
friend had
just-
helped him build the deck before the tournament.
It'll be a million times better just to have the
Tell somebody
router in
to
my
build your
living
deck.
room.
They have no idea
That
how
shit
to play
pissed
it.
me off when I got here, and then I
Unbelievable.
noticed that
Now,
they
as funny
only
as it
had
sounds,
one
I honestly think I
that
might
cable there
actually
sitting
agree
there.
with
It was
Peter.
just so fucking bullshit. I was so mad, dog. 15 more minutes, boys. 15 more minutes. When we get to the Overwatch spotlight. Yeah, I can't believe they actually killed Doomfist. They're killing Doomfist. Fucking L Overwatch. On fucking Black History Month of all things, dude. Oh, this is perfect. The ad starts in 13 minutes, bro. This shit better fucking the ad better start. How long do my ads last? Like 30 seconds? Oh, I need an outlet first of all. Like I can't just drill a fucking hole here. I think there is. Yeah, there is. There is one right here. I see one right there. That there is an outlet just covered up. Like no holes for like to plug anything in. Yeah, I know that's one of the outlets for the internet. So they could have done it here and they didn't, bro. This shit pissed me off. Like these fools didn't have fucking cable in the fucking living room. They just had it in their own room. Oh, okay. I'll check if there's a tube in it. Okay, I'll do that. You know what? Yeah, I'll do that too when the spotlight's over, cause I don't want to fuck with my internet right now. But yeah, I'll check it. I'll open it up and check if there's a tube in it. And if there is, what? I just take out the fucking cable and put my router through there, or put the cable in there. Oh, see, I needed you. I needed you a long time ago. I'm so glad we talked about this, cause then I wouldn't have checked that shit, cause it's covered up, you know. That depends where the tube goes. God damn it. Okay then. Well, how would I know where that tube goes though? How would I know that it's a live cable or whatever?
Here. I don't think he deliberately tried to cheat, at least not in the second game. His sequence of play was so counterintuitive, and he had nothing to gain from it. In fact, if he played his basic combo the way that he should have in the second game, his hand was basically an automatic win. The head judge was also quite reasonable, and he didn't believe that Peter's actions were deliberate.
So,
It's also my first time playing this deck
so
too,
Peter,
but
here's the plus side. Is
Oh my
I don't
God.
think you're purposely cheating.
no, but it's so
And I'm not going
basic.
to DQ you.
I'm
So
just saying the moves are so
basic.
basic,
And
and
that's
it's
what
just.
you should be happy with.
But it's not that. It's
wanna
just
bring-
the moves are just so basic. It's unreal what's happening.
So Peter would receive only a match penalty and not a disqualification.
It's not a
allowing
live
him to
cable
play
if it's
further into the
closed.
tournament.
Yeah, but
he
what if
wouldn't
they
do
could
too
just
hot,
close it
having
'cause they
been
were
pretty
fucking
tilted
lame,
from this match,
and they're
to say
like,
the
"Oh."
least. The match would be posted throughout social media, forums, Facebook groups.
No, I know.
Reddit.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
in
I
the
guess.
community
It's an
would
empty
witness
tube
the
that
hilarity.
comes out
And more than
of
anything,
the wall already and shit like that, right? It's not covered up. So if it's covered up, it's not there's nothing there. Is what you're saying. So even if I unscrew the fucking cap and everything, there's probably nothing behind that cap.
it was fantastic entertainment. But the story doesn't end here.
Should I just check anyways, just in case?
Ironically, Peter's official ban from the Konami organized events would be lifted around that time, granting him the ability to attend YCS Seattle only 1 week after the ARG incident. He would play the same deck, with one of his opponents going on Reddit to note that Peter was unpleasant, extremely rushed, and grabbed his cards without asking, overall being a very annoying opponent to play against. And at this tournament, Peter would somehow get disqualified and banned yet again. Though the exact reason for his disqualification wasn't explicitly confirmed, according to a user on Reddit, it was allegedly for UC cheating related to something with the graveyard. Now I know what you're thinking. Based on the prior story so far, you probably think that Peter would return to get his revenge once more. But this was seemingly the nail in the coffin for Peter's career as a player, for he would surprisingly not return to the competitive scene. But Peter's ghost would somehow still be in the community and haunt it in other ways. Also, if you guys made it this far into the video, it hopefully means that you enjoy my content. And I want to let you know really quick, I do have a Patreon page where you can get early access to my future videos like this one, and behind the scenes content, including footage from these stories that didn't make the final cut. With his career as a player effectively ended, or at least on extended hiatus, Peter still couldn't leave the game that he devoted so much of his life to. Now, remember how we mentioned
'Cause
earlier
then
that
you'll
Peter would buy and
know-
sell cards to fund his travels? Well, it turns out that being banned from playing, Peter would instead shift his complete attention onto buying and selling cards, creating an online store on the eBay-owned platform TCG Player. But over the next few months, across buy and sell groups on Facebook, there would be complaints about a certain TCG Player account by the name of Lumina, which was probably inspired by the Lightsworn monster, if you see where I'm going with this. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Trade complaints, a group consisting of over 11,000 members, several customers would state that this seller had sent them damaged, high-value cards. In one case, it was a Starlight Rare IP Masquerena, which at the time had a market value of over $1,000 USD. But many
Jesus
others were even
Christ,
less fortunate,
bro.
where they would not receive their order at all, having to complain to TCG Player support in order to get a refund. With such a concentrated group of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, many were quick to call out that Lumina was in fact an online store that was owned and operated by Peter Chang. Quite a fitting name, as Lightsworns were one of his most successful decks over a decade prior. As time passed, there were more and more complaints about Peter, ranging from damaged cards that were received not as pictured, to more orders not being received at all. This was a recurring trend, for it seemed that Peter was extremely forgetful, or maybe he just didn't intend to ship out the smaller
7
cards in the first place in the
minutes.
hopes that the customer might forget. Stories would also trickle across the internet to Reddit, where a thread asking sellers to watch out for on TCG Player would have the most
Send
upvoted
me a
response
message on
be
Discord.
about
Alright, for
Lumina.
sure.
Some less unfortunate
There's a countdown on the Overwatch stream. Gotta go to work. Alright, bud. Take care. Where I'm on here already. Is it this one? Which one are you watching? Are you watching it on Twitch? Bro, where's Foch? I was hoping for Foch to be here.
Get tax expertise without hidden fees. Switch to a TurboTax expert for $150. All tax situations, all returns, $150 all in, no surprises. Now this is taxes.
Let me know if the audio's good. They just did the music just cut. Okay. Jesus Christ. Let's watch these numbers go up, baby. Look at these numbers pump up. You know what's fucked up? Back then, you know how many we would have right now? 100,000. Guaranteed, bro. Now, what the fuck is this, dog? It sucks too, because it's like, I guess we can count the fucking people who are in like, people aren't actually gonna be on this. They're gonna be watching their favorite fucking just streamer watching this shit. That's, you know what I mean? This shit would do numbers. Is it? I'm actually getting excited. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I haven't been this excited in a while for anything Overwatch related. Shababash. Oh! Come on! Let me get rid of this too. You know what we're gonna? Oh, you know what? Should have. I should have stole that fool's idea. I should have made a fucking Spotlight Overwatch bingo. We can do it real quick right now. All right, here's my top 3. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have 10 more Kiriko skins. Okay, 10 more Kiriko skins. We're gonna nerf Genji. Nerf Genji. Buff Mercy. Fuck yeah, more Juno skins, by the way. Shit. What else? What else? What else? What can I come up with the predictions? Come on. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Um. I can't think of anything. Fuck. Oh, I know it's not gonna happen, but look, look. This is what it's gonna. They are finally gonna release PVE. It's not gonna happen, but I'm putting it on my bingo card list. Okay, I'm putting it there. I want a new hero. That's gonna happen. Nerf Ryan instead of buffing him. You know for a fact we're not gonna get that motherfucker. Let's be real. Oh shit. Fucking ads, dude. I should have turned off the ads. I think we're fine though. We only get like what 13 seconds of ads, and it's perfect. And then when the ads come out, I'll just end it. Oh, yes, anime collab. I forgot, an anime collab. We're getting anime collab. We're getting Fortnite skins or Overwatch Fortnite skins. We're gonna be in Fortnite. Shit. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Fuck, man. I should have really made a fucking bingo. See, this is what I should have prepared like two. I had the whole time. I literally just remembered to steal that fool's idea. It's fine. It's fine. We'll do it mentally. We'll do it mentally. We got this shit anyways. We're in there. We're in there. We can literally do it right now, I think. Just do it in paint. We got 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. We got enough time. How many squares do we do? Is it 3 by 3 or 6 by 6, right? Oh, I totally fucked up my bingo card, bro. We don't get no free spot. Anime skins. What else did we say? Anime skins, Nerf Genji, 6x6. Ah, fuck it. I made a fucking 4x4. Give me. I can still fix this. I can fix this. Okay, I fixed it. I fixed it. I think I fixed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hold on. This is more difficult than I thought. Kiriko and Juno skins. Yeah. Okay. Oh, 3, 2, 1. Ah! Holy shit. The audio keeps cutting out. No. No way. Is this just for me? Or you just... I gotta go watch it on YouTube now. Fuck that shit. If it keeps cutting out, I'm gonna go watch it on YouTube.
And that kid that tried to take it from me. I broke his nose. I was so scared you'd be mad, but you were proud of me. You said, never let anyone take what is yours. But now you're gone. And they've taken everything. Now, I have nothing.
There's no way this bitch... There's no way this bitch beats Doomfist. Oh my god, it's cutting out. It's cutting out. Oh my fucking god, it's cutting out. Are you fucking kidding me, Blizzard? $3 billion company, by the way.
A long time ago. She's a threat.
I've been tracking her for years.
Are you fucking kidding me?
To this. She's building up to something, and if we don't rein her in, she's going to...
Oh my god.
You've saved me the trouble. You're all here.
Ah, Martia. What an unexpected pleasure. You're not welcome here, Vendetta.
Not welcome. I've earned my right to be here. Paid for in blood. But what have you done? Lurked in the shadows. Carved up my father's empire. Cast...
You mistake your successes for succession. It is time you learn the difference. Predictable.
Never let anyone take what is is yours.
Pathetic. It takes rare arrogance to challenge me.
My family gave everything to Talon.
No way! It's even cutting out on YouTube! Blizzard!
I'm here to take it back.
What the fuck?
You deserve nothing. Power is not passed down. It must be seized.
I agree. And you are in my way.
There's no way Vendetta wins this fight! No! 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 Yes! Oh, they got the gauntlet! She got the fucking gauntlet.
You hesitate. It makes you weak.
I want to remember this moment. Talon may have stolen my past, but I am its future. A shame you won't be around to enjoy what comes next.
No!
No more mistakes. No more weakness. I will lead us out of the shadows to see.
No! Are you fucking kidding me?
Begins now.
Fuck you, Blizzard!
Vendetta is reclaiming what is rightfully hers. Doomfist is defeated. And 2026 is officially the reign of Talon. Welcome to the Overwatch Spotlight.
Yeah, it's pissing me the fuck off too, Ness.
Ten years ago, we introduced the world to Overwatch.
There's
and
no
fight
way they
for a
fucking
better
gave him
future.
pronouns.
But now,
Never
it's
mind,
time
let me
for
not say nothing.
Overwatch's next
Oh my god! Blizzard, at least restart the fucking stream or something.
one. For the first time ever, we're telling an annual story with a beginning, middle, and end. A story that evolves across all 6 seasons of the year before a new season 1 launches the next chapter in 2027. This is going to be epic. Overwatch's fight against Talon will unfold through in-game events, animated hero trailers, short stories, and comics. All of these will be instantly updated in the narrative viewer right inside the game.
We're actually
It's a
getting
whole
story?
way to experience the Overwatch universe.
Shut
And
the
since
fuck
it's our
up.
10-year anniversary, we're going big. Instead of just 3, we're releasing 10 new
Shut the
heroes
fuck
over the
up.
course of
10? Over the course of what? Over what, Blizzard? You fucking fix your audio.
and testing the balance of power. You'll see this impact everywhere. Map updates, artwork changes, new voice lines. Every year,
2
we
new
aim
maps?
to bring major updates that improve and expand what it means to play and experience Overwatch. Moving forward, in addition to new gameplay and systems changes, this will also include major story arcs driving the Overwatch universe
Yearly
forward.
story
We're
arcs.
expanding the story,
Yearly?
deepening the lore, and bringing you something truly unforgettable. And as Vendetta seizes global power with her new command of Talon, what will become of Overwatch? The stakes have never been higher.
The war has begun.
Oh my god. Why do you cut at the wrong time? What the fuck?
You to Domina. While technically
Domina?
not a member of Talon, Domina is the heiress and VP of Vishkar Industries and has formed a fruitful partnership with Vendetta. This mutually beneficial alliance sees Vishkar securing redevelopment rights for all areas.
I'm so glad I'm not the
tragically
only one with the
affected by
audio
Vendetta's
problem, bro.
new
This shit
war.
low-key
Though she
pissing me
may
the
lack
fuck
innate
off.
talent of some engineers, she won't let that stop her, as she harnesses some of the most advanced technology that Vishkar has at its disposal, augmenting her own abilities while still keeping her hands clean. So
Yo,
to speak.
my bad, dog.
From
But
a young age, Domina worked hard to fulfill her family's
this character
expectations,
design looks like
and it all
shit
paid
to
off
me.
in the end. Pressure makes a diamond, after all, and Domina truly looks flawless, bringing style and grace to the battlefield.
That looks sick.
Domina
The
is
wings? I don't
Overwatch's
know what the
first true
fuck they were
poke tank
thinking.
Since Sigma, with tools to keep enemies at bay and control the battlefield from long range. Her
She's a
primary
tank!
weapon, Photon Magnum, is a charge-up beam that
Oh my fucking god. Photon Magnum, what?
Her barrier array sets her apart defensively. Its wrap shape not only mitigates damage, but also protects against flankers.
Oh my god.
Making Domina strong.
They
in
keep
battle.
bashing shield?
Unlike traditional shields, its segments can be destroyed individually, forcing enemies to focus fire to break through.
Oh
Her
my
Swift charge adds another layer of control, unleashing area damage while simultaneously restoring her shields. This makes her a formidable anchor in teamfights, sustaining herself as she pressures opponents. Even in close quarters, Domina isn't helpless. Sonic repulsors knock enemies back in a straight line,
Oh my-
stunning them if they collide with walls. Perfect for disrupting aggressive
That's gonna be
battles.
fun
And
as
such a
shit.
distinguished hero needs an ultimate up to her standards. Welcome Panopticon, flipping the concept of barriers on its head.
What? See, how am I...
Lethal punishment.
Next up, we're enlisting a former
Oh,
Overwatch
these
player,
fools
Emre,
can't get
as one of our
nothing
newest
right.
Vanguard heroes. Once a member of the Overwatch strike team, Emre made a name for himself not only due to his skills on the battlefield, but for his commitment to his fellow agents. Principled and open, he stood as a shining example of the ideals Overwatch should hold itself to. But as the years went by, and as Overwatch began to grow looser with protocols and lose sight of its mission, Emre left the organization behind. Only recently was bounty hunter and ex-agent Freya put on his trail, and what she found at the end was beyond what she ever could have expected. This is not the friend she remembers. His body has been heavily modified with cybernetics, and his mind seems at war with itself. Sometimes she sees the old Emre, the skilled soldier and good friend she thought she'd lost long ago. But other times she
These
seems
characters are
soulless,
not
like
standing
his
out
body
to
was
me
being
like the
piloted.
fucking old Overwatch characters. What the fuck, low key? What the fuck is this? This dude has like a Call of Duty gun. It looks generic. He looks generic as fuck.
Run and gun style to Overwatch. His
Running
synthetic
gun
burst
style to
rifle has
Overwatch.
three-round
I
bursts
fucking
at
told
blistering
you.
speed. Perfect for clipping airborne heroes like Pharah or Echo before they know what hit them. Need precision? Just go ahead and pull up his scope. It slightly tightens the rifle's burst spread, but unlike most scoped weapons, Emre actually keeps his normal movement speed. It's a slick way to win those long-range duels and nail clutch headshots without sacrificing mobility. When things get dicey, his cybernetics deploy the Siphon Blaster, a sidearm that packs explosive damage, heals through lifesteal, and boosts both speed and jump height.
This
Whether
fool
you're
looks like a
escaping
fucking
dive,
Valorant
taking down a straggler,
character,
or
dog.
leaping to high ground, it's a lifesaver. For extra punch, toss out Emre's Cyber Frags. These versatile explosives chip away at health, bounce off walls, and make nasty finishers around corners.
We don't even get closed captions. We can't get closed captions either.
To win those long-range duels and nail clutch headshots without sacrificing mobility.
Let's-
When things get dicey, his cybernetics deploy the Siphon Blaster, a sidearm that packs explosive damage, heals through lifesteal, and boosts both speed and jump height. Whether you're escaping a dive, chasing down a straggler, or leaping to high ground, it's a lifesaver. For extra punch, toss out Emre's Cyber Frags. These versatile explosives chip away at health, bounce off walls, and make nasty finishers around corners.
Yeah, they fucked this up so bad.
Into the air.
Oh my. You're joking. You're joking. It's just gone now? The audio's just gone. No. Tell me they're trying to fix it.
When you're looking to put your credit to use, your score is only part of the picture. You can count on Credit Karma to go beyond your number. Because we analyze thousands of data points and go deeper into the factors credit card companies use, so you can know your approval odds before you apply. Giving you more confidence in how lenders see you right now. Download Intuit Credit Karma to get started.
When Season 1 launches. A clear contrast to Mizuki's cool demeanor, Anran heats things up in the damage role. The elder sister of the water-wielding Wu Yong, Anran is a star student at Wuxing University. She's confident, hardworking, and holds others to the same high standards she holds herself to. Now she joins Overwatch alongside her brother with hope to save the world and keep him out of trouble at the same time. Like Wu Yong, she fights with Wuxing's elemental
Ability and flanking. Her Juche fans fire 2 blazing projectiles, stacking her ignition passive to set enemies on fire. Burning foes take damage over time and become more vulnerable, setting up her piercing secondary attack. When she uses Fan the Flames against ignited targets, the damage doubles, making eliminations swift and deadly. To get in so close, she commands the elements to move around the battlefield. With Inferno Rush, Anran dashes forward, damaging and knocking back enemies while gaining vertical mobility to reach high ground or cross gaps. 2 charges let her reposition quickly or dive straight into the backline. Her training really pays off with Dancing Blaze, phasing her to nearby enemies for damage or as a timed dodge against big abilities, even ultimates. The invulnerability window extends with each enemy hit, encouraging bold dives.
This is the worst fucking thing I've fucking seen
Crashing
from
down to
Overwatch.
ignite enemies.
I'm
But
being dead
if she
ass,
dies
dude.
First, Vermilion Revival
This
triggers a
fucking
fiery
sucks
explosion,
so much,
resurrecting
Ness.
her mid-battle. It's both a second chance and a sneaky way to flip a fight. We're really excited to see Anran join Overwatch's roster. So excited, in fact, that she'll actually be available early for a hero trial.
Look at all the
starting
viewers
tomorrow,
they're losing.
February 5th until Season 1 launches on the 10th. But
No
I think
one
there's
gives
still
a fuck
one more hero
anymore.
to talk about,
They
Miranda.
dropped like
The
300
cat.
people, like nothing.
In a world with gorilla
What the
scientists and hamster engineers,
what?
a cat wreaking havoc in a
No,
jetpack makes
no!
almost too much sense.
No!
Not much is known about this
Who
new
the
addition to
fuck
team.
made
She's taken
this?
Gibraltar as a stray, and if there's more to her story, she certainly isn't sharing it. But whatever her origin, Overwatch's very own Brigitte was eager to adopt a new feline friend. Jetpack Cat has proven
What the fuck happened?
her
What?
lightning-fast reflexes and her uncanny balance allow her to provide support in even the hairiest firefights. She'll put all 9 lives on the line to keep her team safe.
We really wanted to introduce a new form of utility into Overwatch. Obviously, this cat has a jetpack that actually stays on the entire time. She's flying in the air. But when you're up in the air, you will be able to transport allies with Lifeline. While in this mode, allies that are below her will be able to attach to Jetpack Cat's tether, and she can move them around the map. Lifeline opens up worlds of strategies. It can be used for something as simple as a taxi from spawn, or to fly an ulting Cassidy above the point. And because we all know cats love knocking things off ledges,
I
Jetpack
can't
Cat's ultimate has
fucking
her pouncing on
believe
enemies.
they
Closest
made
knockdown
a
enemy is
fucking
picked up
cat
by
hero.
Jetpack Cat's tether, and then either flown off a ledge, dragged into the enemy team, or just taken for a joyride. We don't want
Oh
to give too
my-
much away until you can play her for yourself.
But really, we are so excited for what Jetpack Cat unlocks and can't wait to see the flavor you come up
Jetpack
with.
Cat,
Beyond
dog.
these first 5 heroes, we'll also be releasing
I
a new
know.
hero every
I understand we
season.
have a
Each
hamster,
one
a
expanding how you can
gorilla,
play
and like all
alongside
this
the
shit in
ever-evolving
Overwatch.
story.
Like the
You'll
hamster,
be able to
like
get your
come on.
hands on Domina,
But dude,
on Ron,
dude,
Emery,
it doesn't
Mizuki,
make
and Jetpack Cat.
it
when
just
season 1 launches
fucking
on
sounds
February 10th.
weird as fuck.
Hey everyone, Kenny here back at Watchpoint Gibraltar.
I
where
don't
the
know,
rest of the team
dog.
is supposed to be. Dope. Anyway, it's not just about who's fighting, it's about how they fight. When Season 1 launches, there will no longer just be tanks, damage, and supports. Each role will have new sub-roles. All of them
No!
will have unique new passives tailored
Sub-roles?
directly to
No!
the skill set and combat style they bring to Overwatch.
Damage heroes will now be spread amongst recon, flanker, specialist, and
No!
sub-roles. Next, there will be survivor, medic, and tactician supports. Lastly, do you prefer to be a stalwart tank? Maybe a bruiser instead that charges into battle. Or are you more of an initiator, attacking the battle?
Because sub
I
roles
kind of
may change
like
how you
this
approach some of your favorite
because
heroes.
they'll make sure
We're
the
adjusting some
fucking
perks
dumb
as
people
well.
that don't know
Over the
what
last year,
fucking
perks
tank
have had a
actually
huge
does
impact
what
on how
will
you
make them
approach
help
matchups.
that shit.
And we're continuing to explore not only how to tweak them for better balance, but also for the most fun way to play Overwatch. Beyond perks, later this year, we're looking at reworking some of the classic heroes. We'll have more details on the heroes and new abilities ahead of Season 3. To usher in the reign of Talon, we
Why
need
not
your
now?
help.
What do you mean? I
In
want to
Season
know
1,
what
we're
reworks are you
introducing
gonna
a new
do?
meta
What the
event
fuck?
where you can fight for a side and get rewarded for it. Each week, you'll pick your allegiance to Overwatch or Talon, accepting and completing missions tied directly to the lore. Rewards will then be given out at the end of each week to the faction with more successful missions. So you'll have 5 weeks to try and win on both teams. Feel like you chose the wrong faction? No worries. You can go the double agent route, change things up mid-phase, and not have to worry about sitting in Gibraltar alone.
I have no idea what is going on.
Beyond all of this, we have some other amazing updates coming in the next few months.
Our team has outdone themselves. From jetpack cats soaring through the skies.
Did
to
they fix the
Enron
audio,
blazing
by
through
the way?
enemies.
Because it hasn't done
The
it in
silhouettes,
a
the
while.
animation, the artistry,
Holy fuck.
all next level with these new heroes.
Bringing to life Domina's unique abilities like her hard light wall required all new engineering tech, allowing her designers to create visually striking skills. And keep a close eye on Emery's weapons, materializing in real time as you switch between abilities.
Since we're bringing in 5 new heroes all at once, we wanted to make sure their silhouettes
That's
were
kind of
visually
crazy,
clear,
dude. 5
regardless
heroes
of
at
your skill
once
level.
is
From
actually
concept to the
fucking
final looking
crazy.
game, I am so proud of everyone on the team.
And we cannot wait for you all to experience this amazing work once season 1
Look at the
launches.
back! Look at the back!
Beyond new heroes.
Look in the
this
background,
year brings us
dude.
Stunning new skins for
It's
Talon,
had some
Overwatch,
fucking
and
crazy
everything
Arista
in between.
skins.
We've always experimented with different battle pass themes, and for season
These are
1,
sick!
we're making the
I
story
like
come alive
that
through
one
the
was
faction
kinda
skills
sick.
you can earn.
That
The
one's
team
fucking
has some truly beautiful things coming for you all. Perfect for a rainy day or to celebrate Valentine's.
Loot boxes are being refreshed. All regular shop skins from the last 6 seasons are being added to the loot box pool.
Now, this doesn't include things like collabs or mythics, but you can get Doki Watch skins. Now,
Doki, you can get Doki Watch skins?
But it is so refreshing to use a skin about kicking ass.
Oh my fucking god.
Cute but deadly.
You could, but I like my description better.
No.
Not only that, we're introducing a new Overwatch esports loot box.
Oh
Celebrating the
my
history
god.
of our competitive scene.
Every season this year, there will be 2 Mythic Hero skins coming your way.
Season 1 kicks off with the all-new Mercy Celestial Guardian. This idea came up and the team was like, dude, we gotta make this.
Alongside it, we have Juno's
Why Mercy?
gravity-defying
Fuck
Starshooter
you.
Blaster.
And mid-season, May will let you hop
Oh
online
shit.
for a first
Foch!
Mythic
Where's
Hero skin.
Foch?
Over the next few seasons, new Mythic Hero skins will be released for Soldier 76, Ilari, and Mauga, to name a few, while Mythic Weapon skins for Genji, Hanzo, and Sojourn are on the way.
Some of the most fun skins we get to make each season are for collabs. And there's some absurdly fun ones coming this year. The first one fills us with nostalgia in the
Fortnite?
most kawaii of ways.
When
Fortnite?
playing Overwatch, we could always use a friend or two to watch our backs. So who better to help kick off this new year than some super cute friends of ours?
What? Oh my fuck. Anime! Anime skins!
Do your worst, or I will.
Hello Kitty! What?
We'll show them a trick or two.
Come closer. I won't bite.
Shut the fuck up, bro! There's no fucking way to play Hello Kitty in the fucking... Oh my god. Oh my god.
Prove your skill. I'm in the groove. Be uplifted. Incredibile.
Victory is at hand.
Now we're in orbit.
Oh my fucking god. Shut the fuck up.
Magnifique. How do I look? Ah,
So cute!
That was awesome. Our tech art team has done an amazing job with this collab. You'll see unique
Oh,
textures that bring the spirit
shit.
of our Sanrio friends to life in ways we've
Oh.
never tried before.
The collaboration goes live when Season 1 launches on February 10th.
On February
After 10
10th.
years, we felt that the general look and vibes of our menu screens were due for a bit of a refresh.
Well, that's a bit of an understatement. It's a massive overhaul.
We're revamping the entire
Again?
line, play cards, global navigation, hero gallery,
Oh,
social
God.
panel, you name it.
It's not just a refresh, it's a full transformation. We want your experience navigating in-game between matches to be streamlined, making it easier and quicker to get wherever you want to go.
This includes fixing long-standing complaints. Imagine a future where you can back out of screens without frustration and find
Can we
matches
fix the fucking queue
ever
times?
before.
We're also adding a new notification hub to consolidate all of your updates and messages. A brand new way to communicate critical updates that may directly impact you, such as live game issues, reporting updates, and Face It tournament invites. We're also revamping the visual look of Stadium, specifically making items easier to find and understand.
Fuck Stadium. Stadium swag. No one
Definitely
cares.
is.
Blah, skip
This being
this.
the first season of 2026, you know what that means. The start of the new competitive year. With 5 new heroes joining up and Talon taking the world by storm, it's only fitting that we do a competitive reset.
The new competitive year is kicking off with the only
Actual
reign of
reset.
Talon, the new
There you
Crimson
go.
Wolf competitive.
Crimson?
weapon.
For those of you that
Okay.
achieve Diamond or higher,
Oh,
you'll
shit.
be rewarded with a new competitive skin
What?
for Talon's leader.
We need to make it to Diamond. Wait.
And they say
No fucking way.
Well, former leader, Doomfist.
Updated competitive titles are here. Title rarity is being applied to the entire system, and for those of you that reach
Title
Challenger tier,
rarity?
we'll add dynamic titles showing your individual finish. We're also bringing in Challenger tier icons, awarded every rank reset. Titles earned in Season 20 will be rewarded when Season 1 launches.
Being a multiplayer game, we're focused on making Overwatch even more social.
In a future season, one of the most requested features is making a comeback.
Players have a lot of nostalgia for the end of
No
match
way!
cards, and we can always use a bit more positivity to celebrate each other.
The friend group
so as you can
chats?
see, these aren't cards anymore. Post-match accolades will now show
What the fuck was this?
hero model. There will be even easier access to endorsements. Heroic endorsements will let you highlight the clutch plays and great teamwork moments.
We're also introducing new cards that highlight standout moments. Think match-altering saves, strategic
MVP,
saves,
we're
and
getting
more.
MVPs now. Oh
Expect
my
multi
good.
endorsements and heroic
Okay.
recognition. These will be a cornerstone of our systems update.
Next up, it's the new praise feature. You'll be able to add it directly to your comms wheel.
This plays unique VO lines for your hero, offering praise and positivity. Perfect for when someone gets a team kill, or maybe just when your Genji ults and spawn by accident.
Over the rest of the year, expect
Are you
updates to map voting,
what?
hero bans,
Praise?
Now, we can't have the reign of talent without our queen herself joining the lineup. Vendetta, the Colosseo's greatest champion, is coming in Season 1. For the more competitive of you, we are bringing you the all-new, all-star Gladiator skin.
For gameplay, let's be honest, Stadium can feel intimidating compared to core Overwatch. So we are introducing the Hero Builder, smart recommendations that guide you through creating your ultimate hero fantasy.
We want to remove some of the complexity for players new to Stadium, as well as for seasoned players that are hesitant.
You're
to try
removing
out a
the
new hero.
complexity of Stadium? Wasn't that the whole fucking point of having that, like, fucking understanding how, like, League of Legends works, like, fucking
Complexity in
having
the shop has
specific
been one of the
fucking
biggest
items
pain
and shit?
points for
Like,
newer
now
Stadium
you're just
players.
dumbing it
We're
down?
really excited
Okay.
to offer help in this area.
We want
I
Overwatch to
guess.
be fun and informative.
Every time you play.
You're telling me it was fucking dog shit to understand and no one liked it is what I'm fucking understanding.
Magnify.
Oh shit.
Overwatch battle stations. We are under attack by Talon.
This is the beginning of a new year, a new chapter, a new era for Overwatch. We've never done anything like this before. From dropping 5 new heroes in one season to launching the first in our series of year-long story arcs. Overwatch is a living universe that keeps growing, keeps surprising, and keeps bringing players together from around the world.
I'm glad they're
This
kind of bringing
team is
that
focused
back
on
a
continually
little bit.
delivering these great experiences for years to come. And with that, we realized Overwatch is a game that transcends any single number. So moving forward,
No!
we're dropping the
They
two
turned into
and
2! That's what I was telling you! I told you!
as Overwatch.
The thing that hit me so hard when
Give
I
me my
realized
PvE!
how much Team 4 cares about these heroes. This
They
game, and
know
this
they
community.
fucked up
It
so
has been
hard!
inspiring to be a small part
They
of this,
know they
and I'm
fucked
so
up
excited
so
to be
hard that
here
they
now
got rid of the
with these
2.
incredible
Fuck
devs and all of you from
you,
around the world.
man!
What this team is doing to kick off the next 10 years and really the future of this game has blown me away.
We have so much else coming. We couldn't cover it all here. And here's just a few of those things.
For Nintendo players, we're releasing the Switch 2 version of Overwatch when Season 2 launches.
For fans of esports, there is a massive year ahead.
The OWCS is kicking off this week with a boot camp in Seoul before the full season launch in March, concluding at the end of the year with a World Finals in China.
But OWCS isn't the only thing esports has cooking. With the return of BlizzCon in September comes another Overwatch World Cup. This
Yeah, the
tournament
World
is a
Cup!
celebration
I love the
of
World
global
Cup, bro.
passion and sense of true community that you all bring to Overwatch.
And for the technical fans out there, we're improving the tools behind the game. And you're going to start seeing even greater details on your favorite heroes.
From customized eye highlights to a new ambient lighting system, and improved cloth and hair physics, or should we say fur physics?
Blizzard is committed to the future of Overwatch, exploring more ways to play, experience, and celebrate the heroes in universe that all of us love. So be on the lookout for more updates in the coming months.
Moral Rivals really lit a fucking fire under these fuckers, bro. They're like, oh, yeah, we fucked up,
Season
bro.
1 launches on February 10th.
And of course, jump into the Onron Hero Trial starting tomorrow.
Thank you for being part of this journey and joining us for the 2026 Overwatch Spotlight. Let's make a great game.
They really dropped it too. I told you they fucked up, bro.
What are we looking at?
Yo, oh my god, no. No. Oh my fucking god, I can't. Low key, I liked a lot of the shit that came out. Besides, like the heroes looking kind of fucking whack to me a little bit. Like some of them look fucking generic as fuck. But everything they fucking made. I was saying like no one asked for that shit because I was just pissed about something else. But dude, they fucking really making like siege fucking card titles when you come out and shit. Like they're fucking. They're finally, dude. They already had that. This what? Oh my god, I can't even fucking. We gotta rewatch this shit. They really fucked up the audio in the beginning too, dude, and then they fixed it. Oh my god, I can't believe they fucking. Oh. You know what that means, dude? Time to boot up some Overwatch. I fucking told you, man. I told you they were gonna do it. Oh yeah, did you hear about High Guard, bro?
Like you eviscerated that child, Jesse.
But before this is Jesse Cotton, a Yu-Gi-Oh! World Champion, and he's about to play in one of his most bizarre matches in his career, because sitting across the table from him is a 10-year-old who's never played Yu-Gi-Oh! What followed next was quite possibly the lowest moment in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! history.
Like you eviscerated that child, Jesse.
But before we move on to the duel, we need to set the scene. This duel wasn't just like any normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Match. It was a duel taking place in quite possibly one of Yu-Gi-Oh's darkest stages. This format had seen some of the highest proportion of strategies that were just not fun to play against. So many decks could win on the first turn, discard your entire hand before the opponent draws a card. Hell, there are even decks that could banish every single card from your deck, leaving you quite literally no cards to play with. And the root of this cancer stemmed stemmed from one single card, Firewall Dragon. In case you're wondering why ritual monsters now have arrows on them, I'll give a quick rundown on how this card works. Its effect is where once while face up on a field, quick effect, you can target monsters on a field and or graveyard up to the number of monsters co-linked to this card. Return them to the hand. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the grave, you can special summon one monster from your hand. To anyone who's remotely familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, it was clear this card was completely broken. Without a resource system to keep the number of moves a player can make in a turn in check, Yu-Gi-Oh often straddles the line in being broken overnight with its catalogue of over 10,000 cards that can be played at any point, where many seemingly worthless cards are abused back and forth, without the single guard that keeps the card in check. Being the sole line, this card can only be used once per turn. In fact, if you've ever seen a card in Yu-Gi-Oh that doesn't have this line, there's a 9% chance that it's been involved in some sort of degenerate combo at one point in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, and in the modern design of the game, it's very rare to see cards without this line, no matter how awful. To make sure that there aren't any potential exploits that can slip through the cracks, Firewall Dragon, for absolutely no reason, was one of these exceptions. The first part of the card effect isn't anything too crazy, and whilst it adds some nice utility, wasn't what made the card completely bonkers. The secondary effect could special summon any monster from your hand if any monster was sent to your grave or destroyed by battle, as many times as you want. Your monster gets sent to the grave for a fusion summon, you can special summon a monster. Your monster gets destroyed by Regeki Break, special summon a monster. Your monster trips and falls, special summon a monster. This card generated so much insane advantage, as you essentially had an infinite way to dump your entire hand for basically doing nothing. And with the rampant power creep of link summoning, a new special form of summoning from the extra deck, where you could link summon at any time by sending any choice of cards from your field to the grave, which, hey, procs Firewall's effect. As expected, this card generated a variety of ways to win on your first turn, with the huge card advantage you would gain for simply doing anything. For example, Cannon Soldier, a card that was balanced by the fact that it came out when special summoning more than 10 times in a turn, would be inconceivable for most decks, let you tribute one monster and deal 500 points of burn damage. But without the once per turn clause, provided you had enough monsters to sacrifice, you could theoretically do it over again and again and again. So paired with Firewall Dragon, every time you sent a monster to the grave for Cannon Soldier, that monster would get replaced by whatever fodder you had in your hand by Firewall Dragon's effect, giving you infinite monsters for Cannon Soldier's effect. As much as the people who had never touched a game past the age of 8 like to complain about Yu-Gi-Oh, this format was quite literally solitaire. It was extremely common to see a match consisting of one player moving around some cards on her playmat for 6 minutes and winning without the other player even drawing a single card. What's worse is that Firewall Dragon was left rampant for an entire year. Hell, it originally was allowed to be played at 3 copies for a bit, before Konami thought that limiting it to 1 copy would solve the entire mess of a format. It didn't. So for most of 2018, if you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you're facing off against decks that would be very consistently winning on your first turn, before you even got to play a single move. And that's what poor Matthew was facing off against at YCS London 2018. But before we move on to the rest of the video, I want to thank FlexSpot for sponsoring today's video. I've recently found weight capacity. It's starting to be interested in a test. His biggest stress in life was about against Goliath. A real
That's impressive. It shows a lot of character. Let's see how they get on, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're currently enjoying the video, why not subscribe to the channel? It helps me a lot and lets me know this is the kind of content that you want to watch. On to the actual match, Jesse gets to go first, and activates the effect of Danger Dogman. Danger cards all work the same way. You show one to your opponent, and they randomly pick a card from your hand to discard, and if it's not the Danger monster, you get to summon it and draw a card. Each one also has its own special effect when it's discarded, and miraculously, Matthew manages to snipe Danger Dogman, causing Jesse to discard it. A bit of bad luck for Jesse, as Danger Dogman's discard effect didn't do anything. But that's not to worry, as Jesse still has another Danger monster in his hand. So he activates the effect of Danger Nessie, and once again, Matthew manages to hit Nessie. So far, maybe it's through the heart of the cards, Matthew hasn't managed to lose. Yet. Unfortunately for Matthew, Nessie actually rewards Jesse for being discarded this time, letting him search for another Danger monster from his deck. And so this time, Jesse activates Danger Mothman's effect to let Matthew pick a card to get discarded. And surely, this is the momentum starter that Jesse finally has to win. Oh wow, Matthew managed to somehow pick the 3rd Danger card in a row. Jesse, with nothing left to do, has to pass the turn to Matthew. Matthew had survived the turn against one of the best players Yu-Gi-Oh had ever seen. There's a semblance of a chance of Matthew countering here. Jesse had nothing on his field, no traps, no monsters, just a single useless spell that he had set. This was the chance that Matthew needed, to prove to the world that maybe if there was a connection with the cards in your deck, that the heart of the cards could prevail.
The beginning of the end.
He has.
Matthew plays a single field spell and passes. Not exactly the reversal that was needed for Matthew to win. The field spell that Matthew activated was Temple of the Mind's Eye, a card that reduced any battle damage to 1000. Except Jesse's deck doesn't even use battle damage, he wins by burning your life points directly, making this card functionally useless. We even get to take a peek at Matthew's hand.
And Matthew, he's got that token collector, Signet Refresh, Toll Hike, Gravekeeper Spiritualist, and Danger Dogman as well.
Which, to put it politely, was a random assortment of cards that had nothing to do with each other. And then Jesse begins his next turn, and what happens next can only be described as an onslaught. Cards start flying, monsters are being summoned, discarded. Every second Matthew's being exposed to a new card he had never heard of, a new summoning mechanic he didn't know existed, each new card text being longer than the last. All the while, Matthew's still trying to figure out how Jesse managed to summon more than one monster in a turn.
Can you remember when your first tournament was and how you felt going into that, and what this might feel for Matthew here being at a YCS up against this?
I mean, my first tournament was a long time ago. It was long enough ago that things like this didn't happen so often. You know, I remember the Demise King of Armageddon OTK and being kind of, you know, slightly outraged by that. But other than that, the idea of not actually having a turn was not very prevalent.
Jesse's turn takes so long that Matthew's actually spent more time shuffling Jesse's deck than he has actually playing the game. In fact, Jesse goes above and beyond, summoning Elder Entity Azathoth, a card that prevents Matthew from activating any rogue hand traps from his hand, a move which I'm totally sure was lost on him, as at this point, Matthew was just watching a pretty cardboard move on the desk. Matthew at one point during Jesse's turn, presumably confused as to what's even happening, calls over Judge to help explain how Jesse has managed to win on his first turn, which after an explanation from both the judge and Jesse, presumably still left him just as confused as he was before he began.
I think Jesse's just explaining the combo to Matthew now. I don't think he's seen this before.
So yeah, the first game ends in a loss for Matthew, and we move on to the siding phase. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, in between each duel of a match, players have the option to swap out cards from their deck, with what's known as a side deck, which typically is full of cards that counter other meta decks. Jesse and Matthew both opt to not do this for two totally different reasons.
It doesn't look like either players have elected to use the side deck.
Matthew probably didn't have a side deck, most likely because he was unaware of siding being a component of the game. Jesse chose not to because he had seen Matthew play a single card. Even on the second game, the commentators still played completely straight, attempting to form some commentary over what was essentially seeing Jesse fiddle around with paper for 10 minutes.
He's got Gigantes and some older really like...
Gigantes is pretty fun.
It's a great card. Any interactions we're expecting from the field there for Matthew? Probably...
I don't actually know what Showdown of the Secret Sense Scroll does.
Matthew gets to go first as Jesse's won the first game. He sets a total of 3 trap cards: Necrofusion, the Revenge of the Normal, and Showdown of the Secret Sense, 2 of which are impossible to play under the current conditions, and a lone UFO turtle.
One face-down monster into the field, which we know is the UFO turtle.
The play goes to Jesse, and unfortunately for Matthew, Jesse actually is able to make some moves, and Jesse still spares no expense by destroying one of Matthew's traps, which, on the bright side, wasn't that much of a loss for Matthew considering the card couldn't even be played.
And now...
I think it's fair to say Matthew is in danger here as well.
Yep. Good one, Dom.
Very interestingly, Matthew does attempt to counter one of
can't
Jesse's
believe
plays.
they actually
Matthew
made
rather
this.
excitedly,
They let
hopeful at
these
the opportunity
fucking
of getting to
dudes
play a move instead of spectating someone else, activate Showdown of the Secret Sense Scroll. Well, at least he thought he could, before being let down by the judge that he in fact could not play anything, and was stuck sitting there again. Jesse again goes full combo for another couple of minutes, until about 15 minutes into the game, Matthew finally gets to play his very first and only card of the entire match.
Oh, that's cheeky. He's just negated his opponent's beginning of the end.
This one simple card would be the wrench in the wheel of Jesse's unstoppable combo. Maybe it would stop his momentum and be the start of a snowball towards Matthew's victory.
So as we see, Jesse with a 2-0.
Jesse basically ignores Matthew's counter trap and as retaliation destroys the remaining trap that Matthew had, leaving no stone left unturned, and with that, the last trap being destroyed, which again for Matthew was a card that he was unable to play. Matthew is left with a single lone UFO turtle, and as we'll soon see, is the only monster he got to summon this entire match. The commentators for the next 3 minutes attempt to fill the air by pretending they aren't watching the most one-sided stomp ever in Yu-Gi-Oh history.
So how much would that track card have interrupted what Jesse's doing right now? Where do you think it's actually going to have an impact on the game? Could it really shift any momentum?
I'm enjoying the Yu-Gi-Oh lore.
Yeah,
It's just always fucking fun and shit, dude.
This turn.
Okay.
Matthew ends his suffering when he sees Toon
We'll
Cat
watch
and
like
Soldier
one more
and decides
video,
to cut his losses
and then we can
concedes the game,
boot
ending
up
his
some
very
Overwatch.
short-lived Yu-Gi-Oh career on stream. The post-match roundup commentary is also just as absurd as the entire game that preceded it.
Yu-Gi-Oh lore is so fucking
came back a
funny,
bit in the
dog.
second game though with the trap.
Yeah,
That
was quite fun.
He stopped the second activation of the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And I think it took Jesse off.
It took him by surprise, but I think he was more than capable of
continuing.
As is customary, the producers also give Jesse a post-match interview to try and gain any strategic insights into the brain of a world champion, well, how he managed to beat a child on stream. And Jesse has the expected reaction of someone who understands the atrocity that's just been broadcasted to thousands of people live on air.
Well, this weekend, this is what happens when we do it live, but I hope you guys are going to enjoy the show. We got so much other stuff planned for you.
The interviewer proceeds as if this was some hard-fought clash between two equals, politely ignoring the fact that thousands of viewers had just watched a 10-year-old sit motionless for 20 minutes and only getting to play a single card.
If he had hit the Dogman for the 4th time in a row, I would have lost. I wouldn't have lost.
He hit like 3 in a row, something like that. And other players, they then like mentally give up. And I mean, you've been at the like highest levels of competition. What do you do to like stay in the zone and make sure that you're not giving up?
That's a laugh, bro.
If you're talking to somebody,
Yeah,
like
you're
Matthew,
trying to
you're
laugh,
advising him
bro.
how to get to the top, basically, that
The
would be your
speed,
advice.
the
Like,
fucking
stay determined,
face.
set goals, work at it. Of course.
My mom is kind of
Everyone's gonna have
homeless.
different roads, right? Like you gotta work hard. You gotta don't give up. Like, my road to where I am now in the game is not easy.
So yeah, what would you say is like probably your most iconic moment of your career? Like, what is like the thing?
Your
that stands
favorite
out
win?
fully?
FTKing a kid with Firewall.
There's no.
The match lives on in Yu-Gi-Oh competitive history for being one of the most unintentionally funny and insulting matches ever to be shown at a YCS. Following this YCS, miraculously, Firewall Dragon got banned in the Forbidden Limited list.
Oh god. Oh my god! They fucking banned him! They fucking banned Firewall
Whether it was
Dragon.
related to the public reaction of seeing a child like this lose on stream, or that Konami remembered that they could ban cards, we'll never know. None of the fault could be laid on Jesse, Matthew, or even the commentators. Who can be blamed for this mess of a match is definitely the tournament producers, who could see that the 10-year-old was in fact not prepared to play against the world champion with his Dark Magician deck. What's for certain is that for many people, this duel perfectly encapsulated the state of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! A game so broken and messy, it leads to a game like this being displayed for the world to see. We've just witnessed quite possibly the worst match in Yu-Gi-Oh! history. But
Dude, fuck Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fucking FTK shit, bro. Low-key? Low-key.
Joey Wheeler is one of the most beloved and underrated duelists in the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! But let's be honest, Joey's deck kind of sucks. Even as a kid, I could tell that Joey's deck made no sense, with how so many of his cards relied on luck. It's even worse when you actually look at his card choices. He thought it was a good idea to run cards like Legendary Fisherman or Insect Queen in a warrior deck. So today, we're breaking down every deck that Joey has used, card by card, to figure out if he really was a skilled duelist, or if he just relied on luck to win his duels. Starting with Duelist Kingdom. Just like normal, we'll be going over the deck, applying this arc's rules to it. So, Joey's deck actually goes through a number of changes throughout this arc. and acquires a number of powerful new cards, but we'll move on to that later. So the very first version of Joey's deck in this arc is filled with, well, just normal monsters. Joey's not exactly off to a strong start with this deck. There's not many nuggets of insight I can provide about a deck with only normal monsters. In fact, I think it's quite possibly the worst deck in the entire anime, bar none, with the average attack of the monsters being low. The best card is a 1500 normal monster, so it wasn't exactly a surprise that Joey went 0-6 with his deck.
Taya beat me 3 games in a row. Actually, Taya beat you 5 times in a row, Joey. 5? Oh, man.
But thankfully, once Joey reaches the Duelist Kingdom Island, his deck goes through a number of upgrades. But for now, we'll focus on Joey's deck, as it is before he gets onto the island. I've had to make a couple of assumptions for his Duelist Kingdom deck, as he doesn't use enough cards to form an entire 40 card deck. So for the sake of ease, I've assumed that he still kept his monster cards that he used in the second episode. For the Duelist Kingdom tournament, Joey definitely has received a bit of an upgrade from what he started out with. Comparatively, it's still not by much though. He has a considerable number of OK beaters. He's got 7 monsters within the 1700 to the 1850 range, which means that he's able to stand toe to toe most of the time against your average monster in Duelist Kingdom. Whilst Joey would be able to beat your average NPC in Yu-Gi-Oh!, he doesn't have many ways to deal with decks that contain many strong powerful boss monsters. His most powerful monster has 1850 attack, but considering the upper range of Duelist Kingdom monsters cracking the 2000 attack range like Dark Magician,
I'm boot up some Overwatch. I'll be back.